Just the plan is we're just gonna chat for a little bit before we get into the art topics, just so we can see people hopping in. I actually gotta. I gotta mention that we're live now in the RR Discord.
Oh, I gotta mute this. I have it open.
Yeah, bad idea. You don't want to hear yourself multiple times.
When was this art updated, Dom?
This is old. This is very old.
When was Odog in this art?
Odog's been in this art the whole time.
Has he?
Yeah, genuinely.
Oh wait, it was just me and you from the art for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, when Danny made this, she made a custom version. Well, there's the background, and then there's the 6 individual character arts. I remember for the one episode that was just me and you as regulars on, I edited this. It was just us two, and it was so empty.
It's such a good piece of art.
It was very empty. Yeah, I've decided to use the TV screen to show us talking, which will be a problem when Joey gets here, because the two people on the outside will be cut off.
Goodbye, Bacon and Ninja. You will be
make the
missed.
TV screen bigger.
Not by me.
I cannot without completely fucking up this artwork.
Can you please fuck up the artwork? Like, can you just like?
Oh no, I can fuck it up.
Give like Max 50 a cute little mustache or something.
I can fuck it up some more. I actually have a little image behind the Discord screen. This is a file that was sent to me alongside the podcast art.
Get it off. Get it off.
Like this was in
fucking.
when Danny sent me the zip for the podcast art. This was in it. I don't know why,
nice.
but it was there.
That feels good to see. That makes me overall very angry. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't blame you one bit. It's not okay.
I have enraged.
Phenom, we are not replacing Grant with you.
You will be replacing me with you.
Not because I don't think you're, not because I don't want you, but because I fear what Grant would do in response. He intimidates me immensely.
I think that's less to do with Grant and more to do with you being a spineless coward.
I think it's best
Which
of
is
both worlds.
ironic because you're a skeleton.
Oh, the irony is oozing. It's definitely a best of both worlds. I'm definitely a coward, but Grant's also a scary man.
Wait, he's a regular? It just occurred to me that he's just sitting in the middle of the art.
Technically.
My eyes just glazed over when I looked at him.
Technically he's a regular. But I wouldn't count on him showing up anytime soon.
Fair enough. I don't think he's been very connected to RRs for a solid few years now.
Yeah, I don't think he watches rounds ever.
Oh, Torn already has a
Put on
question.
Ryan's first burger in the TV screen while we wait.
Could I put what?
Ryan's first burger. Noah knows what I'm talking about. He has to.
I don't
This
know.
video that I just sent.
You know, it's Ryan's first burger.
That would be such a pain to set up. I'd love to, but I cannot. I'd have to download the video. And then, like... it'd be...
Oh, Lake.
What? Stella already dropped the... I think it's about time for a shitting break. God damn it, Stella.
Alright, okay.
Torn has a question. Who is the sexiest voice out of all the regulars? I'd like to nominate Aaron, the sexmonger.
Cole, you're a waste on my Boat and Best team. I drafted you, and you haven't even done a single Mario Maker level. Get it together. Let's go.
I mean, honestly, I think that if we're saying that the regulars are the people who are in the art, I think it's probably Max.
I'd nominate you or Max.
For what?
Sexiest voice.
Yes. Someone asked, I think it was Torrin asked in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So people have questions for you relating to me.
My favorite Death of Mine and Limp in season 2 was when I got on Lightning's account and died to be a sprint.
Okay, so you're just gonna ignore the first part of that question?
Yeah, I think there's another part.
No, well, that's not my responsibility to ask you what I have to do.
You can read that question yourself.
I'm not
we
reading
don't
it.
we don't require
asked
Lego
you
to ask
guys.
you it.
No, they asked you guys to ask me. They did not ask me. Aaron, what do you think of Texas Hold'em?
think it's bullshit.
Fair
To an
enough. The
extent.
entire state of Texas is sort of bullshit. I do not think it's like super real. My thing with it. Thank you,
Right.
Stella. I'm your biggest fan. And by
Alright.
fan, I mean I'm gonna blow
Hey,
you
Dom.
away.
Hello.
I don't really look much at the RR Reddit. Every now, I'll always look. Always gotta look.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Wendigo showed up yesterday.
Right, yeah. The
I
Wendigo.
saw the Wendigo showed up.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. I think for the currently low, that's we can start the podcast now. We've had our little intermission.
Yeah.
We'll
Let's
kick things
get
off.
going. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, I'll just do it.
Oh, whoa, hold on. Before we, I'm sorry. DJ Ninja, don't call me out like that. How dare you call out Quick Jack? Okay, now we can continue. I'm sorry.
All right. To everyone watching right now, welcome to the RO podcast. Doing things a little different. We're doing this live, so it's going to be even more of a mess than usual. It's going to be even more disorganized than usual, which is really saying something. Today's episode, we have Legos decided to show up, which I was not expecting.
I got off work for the day, so
It was like 5 minutes before we were about to go live, and Lego was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll be there." Joey, I think, will also be here. He just finished streaming, so he might be take a little bit. Our guests are all Paradox members, all members of Paradox, definitely, and all significant parts of the round. We have Bacan.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
We also have Ninjajaja.
Hello.
And also FlameOrb, who
Hi,
has
I'm
managed to
FlameOrb, I'm representing you, the viewer of Paradox.
who
I'm
managed
here
to
as the
weasel
watcher.
his way into this episode on the basis of he didn't turn up for the last one.
I was supposed to be here, but I slept through it. So now we're chilling.
boom.
Ignore that DM cold. So we're gonna start things off with Roundup, which I am horribly unqualified for, but we're gonna try and see how this goes.
Our roundup. That's what I missed the most, Dom.
I know you do. I know you just want to talk about all the rounds you've watched. We're just gonna kind of go through a quick fire. We are gonna try and mention all the rounds. Just keep in mind we might not have a lot to say about some of them. We probably just be like, this round happened. Sure, we'll move on. If we have any specific talking points to do with them, we'll elaborate further. But we're gonna just at the very least, address all of the rounds that have come out since the last episode of the podcast.
Ultrahardcore subreddit, so I can be ready for this.
I'm doing that as well.
Yep, I'm prepared for that. So the first thing that actually came out, this is kind of weirdly enough, it's not round related, so we're already off to a bad start. But the first thing that came out after we released the podcast was the trailer for the live Out of Orbit season, which I played, which is I think very interesting to say the least. It was kind of
Well, they did it a bit differently than some of the other live rounds, in the sense that if you played, you had to have footage of some kind because they wanted to make a montage,
right, yeah.
which is already completely different than because I don't really know if they're making highlight or if they're making like a montage for stuff like Arctic Cup. I can't really speak on that, but I know Out of Orbit Live they wanted to make a montage. Like that's something that they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who couldn't stream, they were still a part of the live round, which was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
know
the
Bacan
full
was
experience.
planning something similar where people who couldn't stream were still able to play as long as they uploaded their recording of the game within, I think it was the next 48 hours, they were still allowed to play.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah,
I think is
I
a
think
good
so.
way to do it for a continuation of an already existing round because some people just can't live stream.
Yeah, like I can't stream, but I'm allowed to play like Cat Alive because they don't record and upload that. And I was supposed to play Out of Orbit Live, but I just didn't have space, and I know they wanted a full montage, so I'm not trying to ruin that.
Fair enough. It was an interesting experience. It was good to see it was fun to see the group back in this year doing something different, especially considering some of the fun faces that showed up. The roster was very fun, and I think the season in the end when it actually happened went all right. It was definitely fun for a while, and then it just kind of like just didn't stop. I remember it went on for way too long. Like
Yeah.
I think I had something I needed to do after I died, and every now and again I would just check back and I'd be like, "Holy shit, it's still going." It just kept on just going, meet up the gauges. But I think it was fun for the most part, especially considering that even though I didn't get a kill, we managed to get Burning a kill to keep up his insane out of orbit KDR, which is way higher than it should be.
How high is it?
I need to pull up the out of orbit stats now.
What he got one kill, so you kind of maintain it. He was like, oh, his KDR was something stupid like 3.
Holy.
Like it's just complete bullshit.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. It seems like there is not a KDR. Oh, there is. Okay. Yeah, he has a 3-1 KD, which is a 3.0, tied with Wolfe Arctic Recon for second place behind X Misho, who has a 24-6.
Yeah. Just Burning. I mean, obviously it's now a 2 KDR, but still Burning having a double 1 KDR in a recorded round, especially one with out of orbit, which has a lot of good players, is just it's just funny, just hilarious.
Here, I'm just gonna cut this off at the neck. Like I do love you. There's no reason for minute 1 of asking FlameOrb if he loves you. He does.
Next one that comes out after that was Simplistic Season 10. I played that. My memory's so bad, I'm struggling to remember what even happened to me in Simplistic.
I remember after the season came out, Cole Bacon made a highlights that he was showing to me and a few others after the season, and it was fucking like he got a knockback sword and his entire team died. It was a team of 3, but Pie and Kyle died in like episode 2, and he was just alone, and he got like 4 kills, and it was just ludicrous. One of them was he was being 3v1'd and he was at the top of a mountain, and he just knocked back Prisma to hell. She was just gone.
Yeah.
Cold Bacon is better as a solo than he is on a team. It's been proven in 3 rounds now.
Just every human being on the planet, no matter how good they are, just drags him down.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs his own will. Yeah, but watching what happened to Prisma is just kind of, it was so tragic. Just the launch off the hill. Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. It's not super noteworthy, which is, not to say it's bad or anything, but you can have a good round that doesn't have a lot going on. So, just the disclaimer now that if we don't talk about the round a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means that there wasn't a whole lot interesting to comment on because there's a lot of rounds.
Yeah. Apparently, Joey killed both Austin and Cold that season, which I was not.
He
aware
did.
Of. That's kind of cool.
He was an absolute monster. He did do that.
As he tends to be. I mean, he has won both casino seasons and has an infinite KDR.
There's one thing I know about Simplistic. It's that I think max 50 in the Kev Guy team every season.
That,
You know what I did notice
does
with
piss
Simplistic?
me off.
Max has a lot of kills in Simplistic. So Max is like going nuts
Well,
in that rounds.
Yeah. He's got quite the luck. He was the one who kind of was the first person to defeat Austin. And then
last time I looked at the stats, he had the second most kills. So.
yeah, he was the first person to defeat Austin, and after that he went on a bit of a streak of winning as well.
Yeah, didn't he win 3 seasons in a row?
I think so. I know I won one of those, but yeah, I think that's correct.
Oh, look at you! Good job.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of a big shot. Even if you watch my performance in that season, I was terrible. I got carried hard by Max because he's just that good.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Max won season 6, 7, and 8. 6 as the only one alive on his team, and then 7 and 8, they were all alive. Also, Colin, trust me, I'm following your command. Yeah, but he does have 15 kills in the round. That puts him above Shy Gus and Vinyl, which is kind of wild. He still only has half the amount that Austin does, but he is above Gus and Vinyl.
Austin's Austin after all. Can't control him.
I mean, what are you supposed to do?
True. All right, next one after that is quite an interesting one. Gateway, season 1.
Huh?
Gateway.
It seemed
Gateway.
interesting enough. My main problem was that the roster was really, really low skill except for Light, and the intro came out as an FFA, and I was like, "Oh, Light just wins this," and then he won with like 7 kills, like instantly because he was by far the best player.
Yeah, it was not a good first impression season. It was the concept interesting. The roster has a lot of fun people. It's clear that obviously player skill was not really a factor when they built the roster. They built quite a fun roster, but the problem is they didn't look at the skill. And then you've got just
This intro is probably the most interesting intro I've ever seen.
Thank you. I made it.
Oh, what? Oh,
I forgot that you made that intro.
no, that was definitely very interesting, I gotta say.
Oh wait, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I don't know much about most of the people in that roster, but I do know that Light is significantly better than all of them, probably, so.
By a very large margin.
Yeah.
Also,
so
Brent just
we kinda
joined,
thought it,
posted
like, skill wasn't
pregnant.
really, like, the factor in deciding. It was just kind of more of a friend group.
there's nothing wrong with having a round like that. It's just unfortunate side effects of having someone in that group who is very strong compared to everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, we're probably not going to do an FFA again for a while.
Yeah, that's
You did
makes
FFA,
sense.
but you gave all the tier 1 people weakness, and then everyone else had nothing. Is that
Pretty good.
an awful concept?
Yes, it is absolutely terrible. Please don't ever do that in your rounds.
Shout out Wacko Flipper.
Oh yeah, shout out. That's all I have to say about Gateway. It was just kind of it's a fun idea, but just season 1 did not leave a good first impression. Hopefully season 2 is better. I mean, I have no doubts it probably will be better. It's just season 1 was not fantastic.
If you don't mind me interrupting this RR roundup for a second.
Go ahead.
The third iteration of the RR global stats came out, I believe, or the 3-year anniversary of the RR stats came out.
Yes.
A lot of updated things, a lot of shade thrown at me. I've been passed in first death. I'm trailing by 2
Ooh.
to Venny.
Yep, that's all right.
There was he's died at first 3 times in 3 rounds. I've only done it twice. So I have to pick up the pace because that was all I had in this world. And then he took it away from me starting with TDC.
I noticed the amount of deaths Venny's had in around the world has always been like first death. Is that on purpose, or is he just...
That's Fetty.
First deaths are always on purpose. I'm going to say right now, guys, first deaths are on purpose. There. You heard it
Every
here first. They're
single
always
first
on
death.
purpose.
Confirmed.
Every
But no,
single first death on purpose.
But no, and then they also posted that... Oh, my God. Let me find this. It was... Hold on. Oh, yeah. I've never been alive at the end of a round, but I've won like 3 times or something, which is like absurd. But yeah, I think the fact that the Ripper is still
Just
keeping it
because
going
you would
is,
like and watch you.
yeah, the fact that the stats are still going, that's pretty cool. So very happy that they were posted once again.
Oh yeah, kudos
Shout
to
out to
Ripper.
Ripper.
Yeah,
Like,
kudos to
that-
Ripper doing a huge amount of work for that.
Project.
I always like to pester him with the names he's gotten wrong. So if you spot any mistakes, make sure to pester Ripper. He loves it. He loves to be corrected all the time. Okay, back to the rounds. We also saw Abstraction Season 7. I'm not going to comment on this because my season was terrible. I'll
comment on it.
Go
I
ahead.
didn't even play. I didn't play, but I know for a fact something very interesting happened in that round.
Oh, was that the
Oh.
thing with
In
the-
where
Log
someone died in quotes, but none of their stuff dropped. If you catch my drift.
Yeah. So again, I've this point has been echoed a lot. I have no doubts that if Fruit had just obby trapped Foe and then Foe died to it, the response would have probably been, "Oh, that sucks for Foe." That probably would have just been how things were. But then he decided to make it a little bit worse. And combat logged in response never logged back on. Which is quite an escalation.
Yeah,
And he kind of just tainted the whole situation in...
that wasn't Foe.
it was a tragic situation that just kind of it turned what could have been a moment that was like, oh, I feel sorry for this guy, to just predominantly just, oh, what he did was bad, and kind of took away the whole steam of what originally happened to him. So kind of tragic. I actually completely forgot that happened. That's remember that now. It's funny. So
Well, I only know that happened because I watched the montage like last week or something.
Yeah.
I watched the clip as soon as it happened, pretty much day of. That was interesting.
yeah, very interesting counter.
To piggyback off that, let's talk a little bit about what situational, because some people combat locking is pretty funny, but other people it's like, oh, that's not cool. And then same with obby trapping. If some people do it, like the dojo and agency, that's amazing. But if other people do it, not so much. So
Okay, well, I mean,
is the
if
situation?
you obby trapping shouldn't be banned because it's a thing you can do. And like if you get
Right.
obby trapped, that's on you. Like you should be able to see obby traps coming from a mile away, if you ask me. Combat logging is completely different. And Dom, we had a combat logger on our team once.
Yeah, and it's kind of just that one in particular has just been kind of universally accepted as a funny moment.
When Frigid combat logged at us, like it was funny, but he came back. Forax didn't come back.
And
So I think, and also it was a team kill as well.
yeah, it
So
was
I
a
think
team
that's-
kill in a moles game, and considering how friendly the people in the team were, you can very clearly tell the intent was just to fuck around.
Yeah, and I think we also lucked out on that in our team. Like we were all like good friends to the point where like, all right, like if someone's gonna combat lag, like whatever. But I personally think that like if you're gonna combat log and then just like never show up again, that's kind of weird and probably not okay.
I
Yeah.
think you hit the nail on the head there. That's good.
No matter what the context is, if you just log and never come back, it's it's hard to argue that it's not okay.
It's the last
Well-
I've seen from again.
There is actually a caveat with that,
Vanish.
where it is okay to log out and never come back. If your name is Clay Bornful and you say, "Hey guys, I gotta go take a smoke break. I'll be right back," and then you
Clay
just
Bornful
never
also
come
died while
back.
vaping. There, I said it. Sorry.
That clip is so fucking funny. Clay Bornful strip mining while vaping, and he falls in lava, and he could have easily gotten out so quickly if he was not vaping.
It is the best clip. Like, I'm
It's
not
so
kidding. It
fucking
is
funny.
so funny.
Is there a face cam? How
Yes, he was. There was a face cam right now.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah,
He
it was.
vaping.
Oh my god, it's comedy gold basically.
Mhm.
Just because
Yeah.
of like he just gives up. Like he falls in love. He's like, well, oh well.
I had some things to talk about with the fruit obby trapping situation and the faux combat log, but I was liking out for most of the conversation there, which was unfortunate. But
Oof.
there, a lot of people in the R Discord, I think it was T-Firm, was saying what fruit did was just as bad as what faux did, which is just absolutely ludicrous in my mind.
No.
Isn't all fruit did obby trap him?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think it's just as bad, but I also do think that etiquette-wise, obby trapping isn't the nicest thing to do. Same as like cleaning. Like, yes, you can get cleaned, but it's like, oh, come on, dude, why you gotta do that to me?
Yeah, but I think the problem is that with obby trapping, like it's avoidable. Like
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like if you get obby trapped, like that is on you specifically. Like
Yes.
Perp Dan in the
It kinda depends who you do it.
Perp Dan in the dojo, like there was no
That was
outrage for that
hilarious.
because it was funny the way it was set up. Like Perp should have known that he was gonna get obby trapped there. Like I'm sorry, like the
I
second
think
he was in the corner,
that situation I think also does probably benefit from people knowing each other. Like just how circumstances are. Those two were literally like arranging a melee fight. Something like stupid happening from that melee, like arranging a melee fight is, it's not that far out. It's pretty funny, but like especially like in the fruit and foe instance, it's just a fight. Like it's just a fight that happened between two people who were looking for fights. They weren't arranging anything. They weren't like, being like, hey, let's go have a little fight. Haha. It was just a fight that happened. And then Foe was just like, no, this is not how it's going to happen. And locked out.
That
It barely even was a fight, because I think Fruit was just chilling. He made a house and he was
Yeah.
fishing. He wasn't even.
Yeah.
Fruit was wearing not full iron. He was building a house, and this wasn't Foe's first time trying to kill him either. This is just the one where Fruit didn't run away in time. And in that situation as well, Foe stood in the same one block spot where he was obby trapped for like 10 seconds. That was so easily avoidable on his part, but he didn't. That was completely
You had
on
to get
him.
that KDR, you know? Doesn't
Well, I
matter.
mean, you're also right in that it's like, our etiquette, like, oh, don't obby trap, but like, you're allowed to. Cleaning
Yeah.
cleaning is scummy, but it's gonna happen. Like,
Mhm.
you can't put in the rules of your season like no cleaning and expect it to not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if they don't clean, someone's gonna say I was cleaned, even if they weren't. So something's always gonna be complained about. It's just a matter of like how to prevent it from being complained about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think obby trapping overall is easily frowned upon. I'd say that's not like a great thing to do in RRs, but depending on the situation, it can either be funny with like the melee dojo and
Yeah.
agency, or can be justified if you're wearing a pumpkin on your head and not full iron against a half diamond enchanted 4-axe.
But I think he also like realistically, like if I obby trap someone and kill someone, do you really think there's gonna be an outrage? Like probably
Yeah,
not.
again, like it's situational where I think honestly, I think like if you're planning to do it and you go into something thinking I'm gonna obby trap someone, I think that makes it a little bit less cool. But if it's just like someone's digging down on you and like that is your only option to survive, I think that's viable. But I know I have a different opinion than some people do because some people were mad at Fruit for obby trapping, despite the circumstances.
You know what I've also noticed? I don't know if this holds true, but I've noticed that if a typical like bad player does something scummy, it's like really cool. But if a good player does it, like say double pearling, like if someone really bad does it, it's like wow, that was awesome. But if someone that's tier 1 does it, they're like, oof, don't do that.
I think it's because if you're a good player and you're put in tier 1 and you're doing something scummy when you can probably kill them in just a normal fashion, especially if you do something scummy to like a really bad player, people are going to be frowning on that purely because you can do it in any other way. Like, why are you doing it like this? Whereas if someone bad pulls out something scummy to kill someone good, they're like, oh my god, that's crazy that he did that instead of like going to a normal fight. Like if if I get pearled on by like someone who's light years better than me, I'd probably be a little upset. Like, really, you have to pearl on me to kill me? But like, if a bad player pearls on me, I wouldn't be mad because like, there's a good chance like if we're both bad, like, who knows what's gonna happen from that. So it's frowned upon on the good player side because good players can do like anything they want to kill someone. But like if they go like that extra step to where it becomes scummy in quotes, people will be mad.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's just I think it's the need of the player too. Like, do you need to pearl on them? Do you need to double pearl? Do you need to do all this? A lot of cases, bad players need to do that if they want to have any chance, but good players don't.
I think a good example of that is Burning in that one Cynical season where he cleaned the final fight. He was completely undergeared and against players who were leagues better than him. But if you just flip that around and he is getting cleaned by Engal, like that is a lot less cool. But Burning getting that win when he did was huge because he was so undergeared and he is so much worse than the players that were left.
What are we talking about?
I forget which Cynical season was
Cynical, I believe.
Never mind. Forget I asked.
It was old.
I like the
Do you have the
like
you got a vendetta against Cynical?
No, just the 5th season.
that intro.
Why does it always come back around to Cynical 5 here?
I'm not the one that brought it up. It was him.
Fair enough, I guess. I didn't know this was a recurring issue, but let's make sure.
We like the intro. Lego doesn't. That's
I love that intro.
that's
Didn't make
the
the
summary.
top 100 last time, Tom. That's all I'm gonna say to you.
The year the top 100 came out and it was dead 50. That was funny.
Yeah. And
After
then
all
the
the
year
talk,
after, when it just wasn't even on there, I was like, wow, the world's really coming together.
looks like Lego's been right this whole time.
I rigged the votes.
Aaron. I
What?
do sort of love almost all of Romastama's intros. Restriction season 2.
I also
my top
really
20.
like. I think Roma Stam was a great. Okay, we're not getting into this discussion. Let's.
Okay,
I can't do this again.
Go back to the roundup.
Yeah.
I think we've talked all we want about that. We've had a bit long tangent about. Actually, someone did say Bowfish actually raised an interesting question, which is kind of related to the fruit stuff. When is it okay to kill someone who's building a house?
Always. Never. Always.
All right.
You just let him
Exactly.
go.
I think that's
I
a
mean,
good
like
example.
most of the time, okay, it depends what episode it is. I think if it's like
If it's
episode
beat up
3,
someone.
like leave him be. If it's episode 4 and up, like sorry, like I want kills.
Aaron, I know you were joking, but I actually did like your answer. See,
For
like
what?
that's another thing where like if a good player did it, it would be scummy. But if you crit out Astronomical while he's making a house at 0-0, that'll
killed
be the
it'll be
funniest
lasting
fucking thing.
forever.
No,
No
he
matter what
wouldn't.
the outcome of the situation is, even
No,
if
he
you kill
wouldn't.
him,
Austin would
if
not
you
be
kill
doing
him or he kills you, either way, that's like people are gonna love that.
Like, I'll be
I
honest.
think
Like,
it depends on the
if I see Bacon building a house, episode 4, I'm like, okay, like, come on, it's episode 4.
Fair
Like,
enough.
I'm pretty sure, like, there's a limit because, like, of course, the person who's building the house will be mad, no matter who kills him at that point.
I think I would judge it on based on how good the house is coming out. Like if it's already too late, like it's a crappy house, I'll kill him. But if it has
If it's a dirt hut, you have
Yeah,
no
like
shot.
don't ruin
I'm,
something that could be
if
great.
you have a
That's
dirt
what I'm
hut, like, I'm drowning you if it's a dirt
Yeah.
hut. Like, forget it.
Put them out their misery for their
Yeah.
bad building
if it's
skills.
Like, if it's like Danny the Cool making like a masterpiece at 0-0, which she frequently does because sometimes you team with Danny the Cool and against everyone on the team as well, she just says, "Oh, I'm gonna build a house this game," and
Danny's a crazy builder.
Danny is a ridiculous builder. She does hate UHC more than anything though, which makes it a bit hard for her to play. So she just ends up making a house most times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's answers that question. Okay, so actually back to the roundup now. This one I don't personally have anything to say on. I didn't watch it. Instinct season 9.
Nope, got nothing. Move on.
Got nothing.
Yeah,
The intro's pretty cool. But I only watch intros for rounds, honestly. I don't know.
I did see the intro and I liked it. I do
Was that the
also
one
know
with
that
the where they were all like scratchy and stuff, or was that the one before that?
That was the one with the dragon logo. I think the only thing I have to say about that season is that the logo for it was super fucking cool and Danny killed it. It's
Danny's
a
really good at
dragon that was curling around and it looked like the number 9 and it was so fucking cool.
very true.
That's
Shout out to Danny.
all I have on it. Yeah, Danny's an amazing artist and has done a lot for the community.
Once we get to Paradox, I have a lot to say about Danny, but that'll be
This
later.
episode is dedicated to Danny. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danny.
The only other thing I have to say about Instinct is Scott Perry didn't upload, and that makes me sad to this day.
Let's go.
That makes me very happy because that makes me kicking him from casino so much easier. I hate him so much. I want him gone.
You kick Kevin Room because actually, forget it. Nope, not gonna say anything.
I was so terrified. Just a side note, I was so terrified in Out of Orbit Live when the teams are being whittled down, and I was still not on a team, and Scott was also not on a team. I was like, I really hope Grant's not going to do this to me. Thankfully, he didn't though. I survived that one.
Torrin asked, note about Instinct. It's been here for like 9 seasons, but barely anyone talks about it. What are people's best guesses as to why that is? My guess is that the roster's boring for the most part, and a lot of rounds do what it does better, probably, which is exist. It's like for the most part, like there's nothing really like that stands out about it.
Does anyone know what the concept is? Like,
No, the only thing I know about Instinct is that it had that one intro, like season 4, that was in like the top like 3 of the top 100 for some reason, because it like just came out because of the recency bias, and then that was literally all I knew about Instinct from then until us talking about it right now. The roster is more or less the same as other rounds that have that friend group in it. It's just organized by different people.
Mhm.
Like I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, that Mythical has more or less a similar roster. I could be completely wrong when I say that.
I think it's deviated a lot. I will say now, looking through like the Instinct roster, it does feel different, but the problem is it doesn't
feel different in a way that gives it its own identity.
feel
It's
like
just
it
like,
doesn't
oh,
have a
that is
prominent enough-
technically different.
I feel like it doesn't have a prominent like theme of like looking at it and knowing what the theme is. It's just kind of like
The thing is, rounds don't need themes. Like I've been saying this for years. Rounds don't need themes.
Yeah.
What they need is to just like not have the same roster as every other round.
Like there is
And-
distraction without a theme, but it's still like one of the better rounds that's out right now. I
Yeah.
believe.
No, like so most of the rounds that have been surviving forever haven't had a theme.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like
guess
they
it's
just exist. The thing is, if you're gonna make a round that doesn't have a theme, like if that's not gonna be the interesting part, the theme, your roster better not be the same as another round that you're in. Because one of the problems that people have with season 1 is that it's the same roster every single time with like one, like, whoa, what's that person doing there?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
looking through the players for season 9 of Instinct, it's got an interesting spread of players, but the problem is there's like not many people I can pick out as being like, okay, this makes Instinct interesting, because a lot of them are just people I know from other rounds. Like there's not many people there I can be like, okay, that makes Instinct in particular interesting. And I like the some of the new players who would like maybe be a bit more interesting that I see from here didn't fucking upload. So it's like it's not a good look for these new players.
Yeah, there is one note I had with Instinct where it is just an Oasis season 1 when that was a huge problem in like 2018 where they were all exactly the same and none of them were incredibly interesting. I think the best one that came out of that was At War, and everything else just sort of died. They all had the exact same roster and like very vague, like I guess that's a concept.
I always thought At War was cool.
I think At War was definitely the best one to come out of that. But the thing that Instinct did different is that it has a bunch of players that's like, I have no idea who that is outside of the fact that they played Instinct. And one of those was 6BU. No one knew who the fuck 6BU was other than that he played Instinct. And then he actually joined the community and started talking with people, and now he's known. And that is about the only thing I could say Instinct did for me that I can really think of, is that it brought 6BU into the community. Otherwise, it's sort of not very notable as far as
I like the intro.
Like I am personally.
I just don't watch rounds, so I don't know how they even really go that much, or like Instinct-wise of how the seasons have been. But yeah.
People have said in the chat that like Instinct like just sort of has like completely not notable seasons for the most part. Like the roster's relatively not notable. It doesn't have a concept. It's just sort of fine. It exists. It's there.
That's pretty much how I feel about it. It just there's like nothing really outwardly bad about it, but there's just like
other than we don't have to say that he who must not be spoken.
Oh yeah, when they decided to bring that player back, that was
outwardly terrible and probably
I still to this day don't know why the fuck they do that. It was unbelievably stupid.
For firstly for the RR gap, and as well because Scooby's Snags are trying to convince everyone that Maximus is, I said the name.
God, we could have not said the name.
So stupid. Yeah. But nah, he's still a funny guy.
Maximus 50, like the guy in the podcast.
No, my God, it's Maximum and Maximus. I can't believe they teach this lesson every day.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, I know. I heard about it when it happened, and a few people left the round. But Scooby was the only person that wanted him in the round, and a lot of people were threatening to leave. And like, he ended up playing, and they kicked him immediately after, which makes me think that Scooby only wanted him in for the RR gap record, which is
okay. I say this every single time Maximus is brought up, and get ready, Twitch chat. Maximus gets exactly what he wants every single time he shows up.
Yeah.
Like literally every single time, and that is a reaction from the community. It's mainly that Discord. He gets that every time, and it's impossible to avoid because some of the stuff he says is just like downright awful.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
he doesn't believe any. Like I know for a fact he doesn't believe any things he says. He genuinely does not believe a single thing he says.
But the thing is that with the whole RR gap thing, when he made like a big deal about that, he didn't even probably want to be on the thing. He just wanted a reaction from the public, and that's what he got.
Yeah.
Gotta be careful getting one right now too.
Yeah, so he's getting it from us right now. So,
we should.
But the problem is that so like you're right now that's probably the only reason he was there. But like realistically, it doesn't really matter to an extent.
His name is on the sheet. His name is on the gap sheet. It's just white text on white background. So if you can click on it to find out, but I'm not going to outwardly put it there.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, Instinct exists. Just kind of All
right, good question, Torin. All right, let's move on.
All right, now we're gonna get to the fun part because the next round is next up we have Conjure Season 4.
I play that one. I played some Conjure season.
You did play this one.
I did. Oh, was that when I was teamed with Kel? Yeah, that was a fun season. That was the illusion season where basically the pack was switched where water looked like lava and lava looked like water, which actually I was like, yo, who's gonna fall for that? That's kind of weird. Just look at the lights, bro. But then genuinely a lot of people
I
died to
think
just jumping
2
in
or
water
3
lava.
people died. Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 people died to it. I actually walked into it a few times, but I actually had water to like put myself out. It is
It's
actually really confusing.
it's game modes like that and moments like that where you realize just like how mindless like the caving part of UHC is. Like you can just run through caves and just find ores
Exactly.
and fight mobs without thinking. And when you're not thinking, your brain just goes, jump in water, don't touch lava. And you just
Yeah.
forget about everything.
You have to actively remember, like, okay, do the opposite, do the opposite, do the opposite, and it's like it's hard. It is. But
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's just
I,
one of those things that like for an outsider's perspective, you can just be like, it's easy. I wouldn't take damage from that. But then you're in the moment, and like the mindset of actually playing the UHC itself just changes things completely.
yeah, huge roster change for that season too. There was a lot of
Yeah.
subs that season, and not a lot of returners. But I
Aren't
think
they on like their third group of organizers?
Yep.
it started with Merc and Syndic, and then it
Syndic.
went to just Syndic, and then it went to
Syndic and Lux.
Syndic
I
and
think.
Nolan, I think, and then
Yep.
after that, now it's at Carter. Carter and Gus actually.
So Gus is on his third round.
He is.
It's the Scott Perry method.
Yeah. I don't know. This season, like, I think there could have been a lot more with Illusion as a game mode. I think what they did was relatively lame. I think it did work out in the season because people did actually fall for it. But
Yeah,
like that being like the only game mode other than that, like you wear your teammate's skin, which isn't really anything. I think you could have done something a lot cooler with that game mode. And as well, the roster like really changed from previous seasons. And I don't know, I don't really feel conjured. Like a lot of the
teams seem kind of unbalanced this season too. Like there was a lot of
Oh,
like
yeah.
really like low tier teams, and then there was like Glyph and Cold Bacon. I'm like, okay, they won. I predicted episode 1, and I was right. And now Cold also has won every single season of Conjure he's played, being 3 seasons. I would
Christ.
have went out 4, I think.
there's teams like Greeples and Firestone, and JR is amazing and Rande. And then there's teams like Glyph and Cold and Spacepod and Shy Gus, where it's like, how
Me and
do
Cold.
any of those teams lose?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's all over the place. It's quite crazy. Yeah, I think chat is summarizing pretty well. Potential, like the rounds got potential. It's just we're on season 4 now, and it's still like going like there's
Yeah, it just needs some
potential.
Yeah,
There's only so much potential you can waste.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Conjure does have potential as a concept and as a round, but you can only say, oh, it has potential for so long. We're coming up on season 5, and they've yet to do anything all too interesting with the round.
I feel like
As well,
season 1 was one of my favorites. I played and like won that with Cold Bacon, where they had custom potions that you could craft, and the intro made by Jacob was actually like really cool. I thought. I don't know. That season 4 was awesome.
I liked the intro personally, but I think that kind of hurt the round overall because they've kept the production consistent. Where it's like, oh, this is a Conjure intro, which is something that they've done, that they've set like the precedent, like something either feels or doesn't feel like a Conjure intro because they've only used like sort of metal with swearing because that's awesome and hilarious.
Swearing is cool, to be fair.
Yes, swearing is awesome. I love doing it.
Yeah.
But I think there could be a lot more interesting things you could do with the production based on a magic round that they're not doing because they want to stick to the Conjure intro. Like the season 1 trailer having like fucking Zelda music and like being like dainty piano and like moonlight and fucking shit like that. I think that could be a lot more interesting production wise.
That's a really easy thing to work with for like production. Like I feel like there's a lot that can be done with it, but
yeah, I think there could be a lot more done with the production. I think there could be a lot more done with the game modes. I think the roster is really inconsistent. Again, it has potential, but it's on season 4, and at a certain point, you just have to say, like, I just don't think it's doing enough that it could be doing.
But that's all I really have to say about that round.
Yeah, I'm just straight with that.
I don't got. Oh yeah, I did actually know something about the season. Glyph and Cold had nothing, and they just played fucking nutty, and that's why they won because they were just
even
they
when you
won
have
based
nothing,
on
if you're a
skill.
team of that caliber, you're probably still gonna make something work. I mean, me and Kel had a chance, but like I had like a sharp 4, and me and Kel was a decent team. But I had to like go, so I kind of just went in and died on Bradsy, and Kel still ended up top bracket, but he couldn't really pull it out.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right. Next up, we got Agency 12.
Boy, howdy, do I have some things to say on it.
What team size was that? I played
That
all
was-
with agencies.
It was the team of 4 with the cool ass renders.
Yeah, that was the team of
Oh,
4
yeah.
captains where everyone had a role. There was
I died up too.
there was the support who could type, I think, /support and heal everyone on the team 2 hearts
Mhm.
except themselves. They could craft light apples. There was, I think, the communicator, which I was, where one member.
Okay,
of
yeah,
every
okay. I'm
team
looking at
in-
I'm looking at the post. So yeah, the sport. There is the captain. The captain has 3 extra hearts, and they're the one who actually gives the rolls to their teammates to start the game. There is credited as Intel Man.
Intel Man.
Who can find the coordinates to gadget drops. But they are also in a Mumble channel with all the other Intel men.
I thought that was super cool. That was my.
That
favorite
was
part of
really
the game.
cool, yeah.
There was one member of every team was in Mumble.
That was pretty awesome. And then there is the spy, who has access to a kind of an enemy recon variant, and then he also has access to just radar with a clock. Interesting season. I said cool ass renders. Danny renders are phenomenal.
And the intro was cool as fuck as well. Crafted a good job with it. Especially like after the season 8 intro, I didn't think he was gonna do an amazing job because like I think you can only do so much with a specific theme as an intro maker. But no, he fucking killed it on this as well as season 8.
I agree.
I don't like the emphasis on the ass and cool ass renders, Wacko. We're not going to talk about some of the choices Danny made.
Yeah, let's skip that.
Yeah, no, the renders were super cool. The production was awesome. I would like to briefly touch on my season where I found Yellowvid in episode 2. I got him to half a heart. I pearled, and then he crit me out for 6 hearts while I was clipped in a block.
Oh,
That is the first time I've died before episode 5 in a recorded round.
God
I was
damn.
getting crit out for 6 hearts while I was clipped in a block.
That's rough.
I was angry. But yeah. I think, Kel and Micros won. I don't remember who else was on the team.
I definitely know Kel won because I was very frustrated during the season. It was Kel, Micros, Chalk, and Yellow.
Oh yeah, actually, I ended up spectating that season, and Kel, Micros, and Chuck, their team as a whole had like 40 gapples or something like ridiculous like that, and they were almost gonna drop to the Twinkie team, which was actually at the time snowballing. So we were like, all right, season canceled. This is not gonna go well. But then Kel actually got away, and he ended up winning. I think, yeah, he did. And there was some cool things that happened, like that their team actually took a slave to being Peridot, which I don't know. I always like that kind of thing.
It was I remember. I definitely really won because I remember during the season I was probably one of the most frustrated and outwardly salty I've ever been during a round. Like holy shit, I was furious because obviously I was at meetup. I was still part of a team of 4, but we were like struggling really hard, and I kind of feel like looking back at it, it was kind of obvious we were struggling hard, like throughout the whole meetup, but all the teams kept focusing us. We were fighting back. We were hurting all of them. While this was all happening, Kel was just sitting back, not taking much damage. And we were like, if you guys just keep fighting us and fighting each other, Kel's gonna fucking win.
And he did.
And then he did.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I think like Kel getting away from the snowballing team and then them not winning was good. But I think the way Kel won kind of hurt the season quite a bit in my mind, which I didn't see anyone talk about, which is he had the most healing and just didn't fight. So he just kind of skirted around 0-0, didn't really fight anyone, and then he won because he had the most healing from there.
Yeah, he just kind of he ran around a bit. He just like took occasional like pot shots at fights, and like I guess everyone in the game just kind of thought he's a solo. What can he do? And like our team was the only one who were like, if you guys just fight each other, you're gonna drain each other. Kel's not been fighting this whole time. You're gonna lose, and that's literally what happened.
It definitely hurts when you're right and no one listens.
Yeah. And I will admit, Bowfish, it probably was not as angry as I was in Pathfinder 7. I doubt I'll ever get more angry than I was in Pathfinder 7. But it was close. It was a really angry moment.
Torin asked a question. Considering this is what a lot of the discussion so far has been about, I want to ask this. Do scenarios and concepts really matter if what viewers seem to really care about is the PvP? Yes, I do think so heavily. I think good rounds can not have concept, like look at Fission. But
I think Paradox is a great example of why like concepts are really cool.
if Paradox were just conceptless and it was just the roster, I don't think it would be anywhere near as notable. Like, it's like, oh, cool, it brings older players back. That's cool. But Paradox's concept and game modes are such a huge part of it. And I think that makes it really good. And I think, Bacan, you can probably touch more on that.
Yeah, so, like, for me, it's like, I think that the concepts really enhance the round, because if you want to just watch PvP, you can just kind of just go spectate the arena on Arctic or something. I don't know, but I feel like the PvP is like just another part that's looked at in addition to the scenarios. But I think the scenarios are really important. Like for Paradox, I focused on like everything basically. I focused on the scenario, but also the roster and the PvP. But I don't know when a good time in the podcast is to get into like all the things about Paradox. I don't know if now or later. Do you guys want to keep doing a roundup or?
I think we'll keep going for the roundup for a bit.
Yeah, just keep doing roundup.
However, if Paradox just keeps coming up and up and up, then we'll consider jumping into that.
Oh, it always will.
We'll make sure of it. Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you're thinking about it strictly in terms of like the PvP of a round, it's like I feel like it's very good to have concepts and themes and scenarios that benefit that. I feel like there's a lot more mileage you can get out of a scenario that makes the PvP more interesting than the commentary, because obviously they can go both ways. But I just think that I've said this. I've made a comment like this in the RR Discord recently. Is I feel like I'm not gonna go on like a limb and say that PvP is like the most important part of a round, but it's undeniably important. Like it's undeniably something that you need to consider when a round comes out, and a lot of the best scenarios are ones that make the PvP more interesting, or force people to play the game in a more interesting fashion. Like ones that make people more aggressive, one that make like more aggressive plays, ones that adds kind of like more thinking and more things you have to consider during the game that would result in maybe more PvP and stuff like that, or more interesting fights. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Almost like changing the meta of how they fight is basically what a scenario could enhance.
Oh yeah.
I see Torin talking about Gateway, for example, had a pretty distinct concept and scenarios in his opinion, but all of the discussion here has been about how Light stomped. I think that's because the PvP in that round was specifically like an outlier. Like that was the season was decently. I don't want to just shit on it, but I think it's a decent round. I think it had a really bad first impression and a bad first season because it was an FFA with one player who's very clearly better than everyone else. I think if a round that had very good production and like a very solid game modes, and let's say like Paradox had a bad season, I think that could be excused a bit more because like a lot of effort was put into the game modes and the production. Not saying effort didn't go into those.
That's the risk with not having a theme and good game modes, is that there's nothing really to fall back on. It's like, oh well, this team just stomped, but this no game mode was pretty good. Like that
had a cool intro.
Yeah, that's you got to find something else to fall back on. That's the risk. But I think most rounds now just trust like what they can do without a game mode or a theme, to the point where that doesn't really matter.
I think, I mean, in particular related to Gateway, because I think it's a good like example for this talking point, is the game modes are interesting, but it's just kind of you weigh the factors. And it's just hard to ignore the fact that the PvP for the season was just so uninteresting. Like, the game mode's cool. The game mode's cool and all. But when you look back at the season, the thing that kind of dominates your mind most is just like, oh yeah, Light just like killed everyone. Like, so like easily. And just stomped. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily a factor of PvP being more important. But that aspect of the PvP was much more of a focal point of what happened during that season than the game modes. It just didn't feel like the game modes. Yeah, I said the game modes. Don't get me wrong, were interesting, but coming out of it, the thing that takes the mind the most is just how insane a performance Light put on and won the whole thing with no chance of losing from the start or from the get go. It's just all about it's just all about like just weighing the factors. Like you can end up having like a season that has bad PvP, but the game modes are still more interesting. It just depends on how bad the PvP is and how good the game modes are. And
I think Gateway had good game modes. I just don't think they were amazing. There were two worlds. The first world was like there were shattered structures. It was like all desert. There wasn't much. And then I think at a certain point they were teleported to a lush world where it was.
I think that FFAs just don't work for some rounds anymore.
Yeah, if there's a huge skill gap in a round, you really can't do an FFA with.
Like you can just like you can place your bets on like one of three people really.
Like if Agency does an FFA, shout out Walsh and Perpdan for winning the season. But
you have like Cal, Bobby, you have Walshy, Perp, and I don't know. I mean, depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, we can move on now, I think. Because I don't think we have much else to say about Agency 12. Kind of went on a different point there. TGF 9.
Good intro.
The Great Frontier?
The Great Frontier.
Yeah,
no way. They had a ninth season?
They did have a ninth season.
I'm still out of the loop here.
They did indeed have a ninth season.
Who organizes that now?
Carter
78 Ford and Carter.
78 Ford, yeah.
What?
I heard it was a really good season and an unexpected outcome it was go to hell for season 9 because I think they did like a Frostburn thing because they introduced a lot of new ice stuff with like polar bears and glacier biomes. So they did Frostburn where there was meetup was in Nether and then all the world was ice. But as well, there was an interesting thing in the season where there was a team of Buttergolem, Mr. Cute, Casmic, and BS Brett. But
it was not BS Brett. Spoiler alert.
Unbeknownst to the organizers, and I think the people on the team, from what I heard, John or SpacePod played on BS Brent's account and screen shared it to Brent, and Brent did commentary over it. And
no fucking way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dom ratted him out to the organizers, and if he
I
didn't,
so wish I had a fucking clip of when I told Carter that it was Spaceball playing.
How did you find out?
People were making like dumb alluding jokes like during the whole season in the chat. I think other people had clocked on. I just want to clarify, we as a whole team knew. Like it wasn't like we didn't know. We 100% knew it was Spaceball playing. Okay. But like jokes were cracked throughout the whole season that people were kind of cluing in. After I died, I made a after I died, we were chilling in a call with I think Gus was there as well, and we were just chilling, and I made like some kind of jokes about something, and then Gus just went, "Oh, by the way, is that Spaceball playing?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it was," and then Carter screams, "Motherfucker!" And this is like ep 4 or 5. He had no fucking clue for like this whole season. And he found out like so late on. It was amazing.
It makes me so sad that you told Carter, you little rat man, because Brent would have been credited in the intro and on the stats, and it would have been perfect. It would have been so good.
I ratted him out for purely selfish reasons. I wanted to hear Carter's reaction. I wanted to sit there and just be like,
told him after the stats came out. No.
That would have been so funny.
I'm just baffled that everyone in the round knew besides the organizer. That is absurd.
It's Carter. What else do we have to say?
78 Ford, who's kind of disconnected a little bit from the community, and I don't think would have picked up on that. And Carter, who I love the guy, doesn't pick up on much at all.
No. It was, oh my god. Absolutely hilarious.
Dom.
Hello.
I received a private DM from someone who would like to tell a funny joke in the podcast. If that is okay with you.
I want to know who it is first. That will
was told to keep
that will
their identity secret.
that will severely influence my decision to let them on the stream.
Okay, what if I told you that they can just tell their joke and then you just kick them like immediately?
I know. No.
I think I might know who it is.
I'm not adding someone to tell a joke unless I know who it is.
What if I add someone?
I
to tell
don't
it?
care what the joke is. I just want to know who
I
it
don't
is.
know what the joke is.
I just want to know. I just want to know.
Aaron, could you check your DMs? Is it them? That's my guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Here,
Dom.
Dom, I'll DM you so that the okay, while we're talking about the RR roundup, I'll DM you on Discord, Dom, so you can.
I'll see if if I'm okay with this happening.
All right. I'll continue the roundup while you're doing that. Next round to come out with Fission 11.
111.
Fission season 11.
Oh, I had a lot of fun that season.
Who were you with?
I was with Brody.
It was a team of 2 and a very unexpected team 1 because there were some solid teams, and then Chessa and Megan.
Well, hold on. The only reason, okay, Bobby threw. He threw. He let Top die in the lake, and then it was over. I don't know why he did that.
Oh, you were with Brody.
I was with Brody.
Yeah, there were some very strong teams like there was Madge and Lewis. There was Daffs and Jacob, Phenom and Vernon.
Bacon and
Yeah,
Max.
I mean, I think the thing is that Chessa and like Megan didn't really fight anyone until the end. So all like the good teams were fighting the good teams. That's what was so good about that season, is that a lot of the teams were like good teams. Like the team of Sam and Bill did something too.
Yeah.
So I think all certain people were able to like pick each other off, which is like that was good for the season, which led to a winner like that.
I think I'm very glad Chess and Mega won because I love both of them, but as well I think they were definitely one of the worst teams. I think the only team that probably would have been worse is Paper Vinny and Flubel, which is very bad.
Yo, you're sleeping on my boy Flubel. He's been waking up in his combat lately. I
No,
don't
Fission
know.
11 was recorded before he got his new PC and when he was very bad.
Alright, fair enough.
This season I think was recorded in October and released about a month ago.
Yeah, I think it was recorded in October.
It had a huge production cycle. But yeah, I think overall it was a decent season. Unexpected winners. I like the roster quite a bit. I think it's a very good Fission roster.
Had some pretty good newcomers.
And obviously Damien killed it on the intro. Sorry, Daps killed it on the intro. It's so good. I like every Fission intro, of course.
I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, you're not in the round, though. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish.
Uh,
Oh,
looking
Joey's
at-
here.
Joey. I was just thinking about him with my brain.
Fuck, I gotta
What's up,
move
Joe?
the fucking thing. Shit, hold on.
You
I
thought
can
you
Dom,
were
see
Dom,
Joey?
is that a yes or no to our joke teller?
Oh, it's snapping. Jesus, is the fucking thing's snapping. I can't put it right. All right, it's fine.
That's okay. You can
Joey, you're like slightly cut off. It's all good.
Wait, I'm cut off?
No, Joey's slightly cut off.
Thank God. I was about to say, if you cram me into a corner, I will fight my way out.
Yeah, Bacon, you're fine. It's just Joey has got like a tiny bit of like his elbow has been cut off.
That's normal.
You just managed to slide into the frame here.
That's nice to slide into your DMs. I get it.
Please do not do that.
All right.
Lego's already slid it, and I'm not okay with the information he's given to me.
Oh.
Are you saying it's not going to happen?
I didn't
Don't-
know you were doing this live.
Yeah, we're doing this live. Yeah,
I kind of like it. That's more interesting.
yeah, it's fun. It's working out nicely.
What did I miss?
Well, we're doing the RR roundup right now. We just talked about Fission season 11. You've missed quite a bit. There's a joke that is supposed to be told in a few minutes here.
It's
I
not.
know.
I'm gonna tell you straight up right now. It's not happening.
Okay.
So-
I'm putting down my foot, and I'm saying this is not happening. I'm shutting it down. I'm ending fun.
What if I put my fingers under your boot and lifted it a little bit and added him to the call? Consider this.
All right, what's the next round we're talking about?
We're trying.
The next one is another one I don't have much to say about. It's because it's a fairly new round, so I don't have much of an opinion. Creation season 2.
I have nothing to say about that.
I don't really know.
Organized by Blur, Quill, and Claybornful. I was asked to organize this round for season 1. I declined,
Did
and I think he
Great
messaged a few
decision.
people asking to organize. I think Quill just said yes.
Dom,
I,
Dom, our little joke teller has something to say to you in the Twitch chat.
I'm sorry. Oh god.
Can I get
fa-
an update on the joke?
I don't know what it
My
is.
good friend Rocky wanted to join the call and tell a joke, and Dom said no.
Rocky just said, "Wait, I actually have a lot to say about Creation Season 2."
Fancy, assuming your round is astrology, we talked about how Clay Bornfield died while vaping.
Good stuff.
Yeah, just Creation 2. I think a new season 1 gang has sort of emerged a bit, and it's been the first time since like 2017, 2018, but they're here. And other than like ex Misha, this is very much like a lot of people who are just in a lot of newer rounds, and that's not a problem. It's just a thing that exists.
That thing that is noticeable. I noticed that too.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with being in a lot of rounds. Obviously, I can't exactly have a go at people for being in a lot of rounds. It's just when you have a season 1 or a new round that has this many people who are just in other rounds, it's like, okay, there's not
Yeah.
much to write home here.
I don't think the concept's all too interesting, and the roster there isn't a lot going on. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess those are people who will record and upload, and that is a roster.
It's
Nothing against
it's
people
just one of those fun made up terms that come up. It's pretty much just a pseudo concept where it's like we have a concept, but it doesn't limit us in any capacity. We can do whatever the fuck we want, and we can still make it about our theme.
A bit of a
which-
conception situation.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Kind of like Paradox. Any dimension you go to, you can do whatever you want.
God,
Do
this
not-
guy-
We are going
this
towards
guy
we are
talks about a paradox. It's all
we
I
are
hear from
we are
this guy.
traveling to the dimension of best PVE.
I would
yeah.
like to punch Sam in the face for just saying, on purpose with his mouth and brain, that Paradox has a pseudo concept.
What do you mean?
It has the strongest concept of any round on the subreddit right now. I don't
Maybe
want
I
to
just
hear
went
it, you
over
little rat boy.
I feel like the concept is vague enough to give to a lot. Like, I think rounds with a super hyper specific theme don't really work long term.
Yeah, that's completely fair. It's just there's a nice a nice balance where you can strike. We can get a theme where you can do a lot with it, but it feels very planned and coordinated. If you go too far on one side, as you said, it kind of limits like way too much, and you can barely do anything. Like when what was that fucking round that was doing the seasons?
Phase.
That was Phase.
There
Yeah,
are
it's like
4 seasons.
I
in a
thought you were
year.
gonna say the sauce. I thought you meant the sauce.
I thought you were gonna say
It's
Gala.
infinite food.
You're gonna say the one about eating different food.
Seasoning.
oh, that
one.
was consumption we'll get to. But yeah, Phase is just like you're doing the seasons. It's like okay, so what are you doing season 5? It's fuck all.
They did
Hey,
actually
didn't you
announce
say the same thing about like Out of Orbit? I mean, they'd run out.
For Out of Orbit,
planets
Out of Orbit
and
at least.
and you, Dom, as well. You have the Divine Comedy, like that would run out.
I mean,
wouldn't it?
to be fair, TDC, I can at least carry that for like
Dom,
the
where
upper
is
end of
TDC?
working on it. You can carry that. You can carry that to like the late kind of. You can if you stretch a little bit, you can get to 10. With seasons, what the fuck do you do after 4? There are 4 seasons.
They actually did say
You,
that.
um,
They
you
said what they were
splinter.
gonna do.
Summer.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Winter.
Dom,
They said they
Dom,
were gonna
Dom,
do
are you kidding me? Dom, are you
Oh.
joking?
What?
It goes fall, winter, spring, summer, midsummer, winter
Autumn.
solstice,
Don't forget autumn.
I
It's just
know.
gonna
I
become
know
Valor.
this is. I know this is
Just
a rib. I know
fall
this.
and autumn are 2 different seasons.
I could do a great what is it? What do you call it? Segue right now.
I just want to say. I know it's a rib, but I'm just saying. Transitional seasons as like a theme for your season sucks. That's a terrible idea. There's no fucking way that'd be okay. With Out of Orbit and like stuff like that, stretching it. In theory, if in Out of Orbit, if you stretch the theme, you can get as many seasons as you want because you'll just do planets elsewhere. And if you can find interesting enough planets, then you can carry it. Thanks for posting that message.
Thank you, Eric.
With if you're stretching the theme with like TDC, we can still do stuff that's related to the Divine Comedy and Dante's Inferno as a whole, past once we complete all the layers of hell. However, seasons, there's nothing interesting about Midsummer or transitional seasons. There's nothing interesting there. You can't do that. This completely went off the rails from what I was talking about before. But
But when it goes 3 weeks in the spring, you can do a season with snow and flowers.
Yeah, that's actually what they wanted to do. That is genuinely what they wanted to do with the round, is have like transitional seasons that had both spring and winter game modes, which is so lame.
it's very
And
lame.
not interesting.
Okay, but back to the original point about striking a balance. You go too far in one direction, you limit yourself way too much, you can't get any mileage out of it. But you go the other direction, you just transparently were just thinking about organizing. You're like, well, we're organized around, we gotta have a theme, but I can't be arsed coming up with things that fit my theme. I know, I'll just do something where you can slot in any game mode, and with like a single sentence, you can make it about the theme.
Yeah,
Which just,
I'm down for that.
it's just kind of,
I mean,
at that point, just don't have a theme.
yeah, I mean
Just
they
don't have a
essentially
theme.
don't. Like, nothing against Pathfinder, it doesn't really. You can just make whatever game modes you
Pathfinder
want.
doesn't have. No, at this point, Pathfinder doesn't have a theme.
Whatever.
Pathfinder's theming goes like strictly just like on a name basis. Like
Pathfinder
it's
does not have a
When is
theme. I am
Pathfinder a path happening?
12.75 coming to you soon.
oh shit.
Anyway, I'm going to take my leave. Next time there's a podcast, I'll make sure to have more time saved up. And thank you for having me so far.
All right, everyone in chat, say goodbye to Lego.
Everyone say goodbye.
Yeah.
We're watching chat. We know who's not saying it. We
Wait,
know
have you
who's not.
guys talked about Corey in the House Path yet?
I
We
don't
have
think we have. That might have been before the last podcast.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Ah, damn it.
yeah.
didn't make the cut.
That's lame.
I mean, I was thinking the Pathfinder's concept is basically just on like a name basis. Like it doesn't you don't try and like pass it off like Pathfinder. We're going to be exploring all these new paths. It's just kind of like we named the season that. It's kind of the same with like WMC. It's just that's just the name of the season. There's no theme.
Yeah.
When you try to explicitly convince people like our theme is we're doing this and we're going to try and test our knowledge with this. We're going to explore these avenues, but your entire theme is just you can do whatever the fuck you want. Then
Yeah,
it's
I sort of gave up giving Pathfinder a theme after about like season 6 or so. Like I started it having some kind of theme. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it's probably still in the old post if you want to find it. But at this point, there's no theme to it. It's just I don't know. I don't even know what it is at this point.
yeah. It's just
What
it's
is Pathfinder anyway?
no one knows. Okay, let's move on to the next round here. We're going to be talking about Quixotic Season 5.
Ninjajaja, you got some words about this, I imagine.
Don't have anything to say about this one.
I made the intro.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Nice.
did.
I don't know like anything about the season.
There's a funny Persona song, and it's got like a Persona aesthetic, which I'm super down for.
So I know Wizard pretty well, and he's a big fan of Persona, so that's why I used the Persona song and kind of the colors I get. But I've never played
Fair
Persona
enough.
either.
Yeah. I know literally nothing about this season. I just watched the intro again. A-Rich and Fictional is a pretty strong team. That is literally all I can. That's all I got.
Sounds like they won too. Someone said A-Rich steamrolled.
Well, that watching the intro, that was a pretty strong team. Because I didn't realize this about Quixotic, but it seems like a pretty low skill round. There are some teams that are what I would generously call very bad.
Yeah.
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 I mean, all the good players are nerfed, as far as I can tell. Like Delfino's with Brodator. They need to take Brodator down a peg, so they put him with Delfino.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say on Quixotic.
Next.
Next up, I have not prepared. I gotta fucking scroll here.
I'm doing that as well. That's a montage. That's a montage.
Connection Season 5, I
got
think.
nothing.
Yeah, it's Connection Season 5. Yeah, that's the one.
And-
If I didn't have anything to say on Quixotic, good God, do I have nothing to say on Connections?
I have nothing.
I think
To say.
nothing against the round. I think that's a pretty general consensus about Connections, is that it's okay. Along with Instinct, it's a round that just sort of it's there. It is that friend group's round, which is cool. I think most friend groups have a round, and this one didn't, and now they do. This is Izzy's TS, and it seems fine. Oh yeah, these are Full Light Slime's first renders as well, and he apologized beforehand. Like, these renders are atrocious. I've gotten so much better. I'm so sorry. They're not that bad.
Yeah, they're not that bad.
They're pretty bad.
The roster's seemingly pretty consistent. From looking at the stats, like they have 3 people who've played all 5, 10 people who've played 4. Like, it's actually pretty consistent for like most early round seasons these days. I swear seem to have like participations that are all over the place. These ones are somewhat somewhat consistent, which I quite like.
That's what Connections has going for it, is that it is the round of a friend group. So like, they just if someone new joins a friend group, they will probably get added to the round. So it is relatively consistent because it's just who they're friends with, and they add them, and then they play.
I like that about rounds, though. I like it when like the rosters actually stay consistent. It makes it like a lot better, in my opinion.
I agree. I really like a consistent roster.
It's what I tried to. That's one of the things I really aimed for when organizing TDC, because I realized that one of the early pitfalls when you have a season 1, when it comes to consistent roster, is the size of the seasons grow over time, and when you get to like season 2 or 3 and they're getting bigger and bigger, you then have to start adding people to kind of match that, and that's why rosters get really inconsistent. So I was like, off the bat, I was like, we're gonna have a big roster off the bat, just so that we have more players, and if we have to swap people in and out again, it's going to be still more consistent. And that, I think, worked out really well for us. I think the stats of the consistency for TDC look really good. Frequency of seasons, not so much, but roster consistency is good.
Where's Sarah Derps? I've actually been wondering for a while now.
She chats in there every now and again. She's still there.
Oh, wait, she's actually in the round. I said that because I thought she left. Never mind.
Oh, she's actually stayed in there, and she like chats. At this point, it's just like the TDC Discord's just emojis. Like, people just put emojis in there.
I am begging you to organize
that's almost as good as the Risk and Reward Discord. Right now, right now, the Risk and Reward Discord is literally just everyone saying GM to each other,
and then saying goodnight. It's just
The best part is the person who's been saying it the most, I'm pretty sure, is the person who's not even publicly in the round. Someone who's not even publicly in the round is keeping the group alive.
They are, and it's very appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, I just checked the TDC stats. I forgot how fucking insane consistent it is. 4 seasons played, 12. 3 seasons played, 13. 2 seasons played, 13. 1 season played, 12.
That's
there
really
are rounds
consistent.
that are on season 2 and 3, or maybe even just season 2, that have less people who have played every season than you, who's on season 4.
You gotta get that. You gotta get it from the start, from the very start of the round. You gotta think about this shit.
You have to make sure your All-Stars team is impossible to choose. You gotta have an entire 30-player roster that has played every season. You have to randomize your team.
Paradox only has 4 people left that have played every season, so.
With the ones that are recorded? Or publicly?
With ones that are recorded, that is, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A little bit of info for you there.
Chat, guess who they
Everyone's gonna start trying to figure out who didn't play.
And it's gonna make it even harder because I will also say we are 2 seasons ahead. There are 2 seasons recorded that are not out right now.
Ooh.
Oh Jesus.
Exactly 50%.
Didn't you do that for the last one as well? Didn't you record
3 and 2 were both recorded back to back. So what Paradox does that's a little different is we record 2 seasons at a time. While one season is recorded, the other is still in production, just to like kind of minimize the wait between the two. But then before we do the next season, we wait for the 2 seasons to catch up, and then we do the next one. So it's kind of like a huge on season, huge off season.
It's interesting. Okay, very commendable.
We want to move on to the next
before we move on, I did see a comment in the chat a little back. Let me scroll back to see. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, Bill said this. In regards to Quixotic, spec perspectives. When do you have them, and when do you not?
I
I think there's nothing
personally,
that hurts from having a spec. I mean, if you can have one, they can pretty much be there. But I think some game modes are a lot cooler with a spec one, like All
Mhm,
Stars, Rising Stars. I feel like should have a spec perspective because
I
it's
agree.
kind of like a big event. But then like
Yeah,
rounds
like
having one, I don't think it
it
hurts.
should have one as well.
You say that, but I don't think a single All Stars season has ever had a spec.
No.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
no, wait. Did season 5 have one? Oh
I
wait, no,
think
it
the
did, didn't it? There wasn't Quill
Yeah.
spectating.
Wait.
Oh no,
Do you have a
okay,
perspective,
ignore me then.
though?
Sorry.
I vaguely remember watching it, but I don't remember who it was.
Ignore me
Yeah.
then.
Was
Sorry, that's my bad.
was it?
I like event rounds like World Cup and like I guess not All Stars but Rising Stars having specs, and as well I like it when rounds have a consistent spec like Mr. Scary Muffin and Cynical. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. I love that. Or if the spec team, I don't know. I think like if it's a game mode that it's like Mumble Infinite Allies, I think that's cool to have a spec for. But
Yeah.
otherwise, just having a spec for a like Conception 6, we had Jar, Evan, and Pokememe spec, and there was not really any reason for them to spec at all. It was just a normal game mode. They were just kind of there. Only one of them uploaded.
Yeah, I think what you said, Bacon, is kind of like apt. There's nothing really bad about having a spec perspective. It's just kind of like it just brings into question. It's just like, what does it like really provide? Like, sure, it's just fun for like it's like fun, especially if you have like interesting game modes that kind of where a spec perspective adds another layer to that. That's fun. But in a lot of seasons where it's just kind of more standard, just the spec perspective just kind of feels like tacked
If
on.
the spec is like really good at finding the action and being there for the fights, it does. It is a good alternate perspective to watch if you don't feel like switching to all these perspectives or waiting for a montage. You can just watch the spec, see all the fights firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it provides. Where I like, for example, for Rising Stars, I watch the spec because I'm like, the spec is gonna see all the important stuff I gotta see. But it depends, yeah.
I remember one person commented at some point, like, if you have a spec, what's the point in watching everyone else? I think someone said that once. I don't know.
It's
true it
yeah.
is.
It's one of the things that in theory, like you think about it, it's just like, yeah, there's no reason to watch anyone. But in reality, it's
I
like
don't hear their commentary, so.
in reality, it doesn't end up being that way, which is interesting.
Watching a spec, watching a fight is less interesting than watching someone in the fight and like they pop off when they kill them, and like especially for like a final fight. When a spec would just be like, oh, and America wins versus like someone who might be freaking out when.
Yeah,
I feel like in Paradox 3, it ended up being a pretty good thing because of the
Yeah,
footage
because
loss.
the
when-
footage loss. So the spec is also a
agree.
good backup for losing footage of losers.
that's
The
true.
only- I really like that Paradox had a spec there because obviously it was pretty big because final fight didn't have any footage, right?
Yeah, and it was a really crazy ending
The
that
two seasons
like people
ahead
would have
that
been sad
that
to
I
lose.
just mentioned were recorded both have a spec as well. Paradox now has a permanent spec for the record. So.
Ooh.
Okay. My
I wanna-
my other problem with the oh sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, no, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to comment on something that Max has said in the chat, and I think that's not a bad idea. Like, I think if someone dies early, like if they actually played the season and they died early and they continue to do a spec point view, I think that's cool. I actually kind of like that idea. Like, I think, as he said, I think Austin did that for Fission. I think that's a cool idea. I agree with that. Like, I think it's better to have someone who's actually in the round spectate rather than just getting someone out of the blue just saying, hey, you want a spec. Like, I feel like that's not as interesting, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is it cool if we continue the R roundup but skip ahead a little bit because of a lot of people have been talking about Party of One in the chat, which as the spectators is a huge part of the game mode.
Patience. We can loop around. We can reference back points. Just be patient. We'll get
Actually,
through
the
this.
problem is that we can't. I'm going to delete this Discord.
There's a whole plot line
I'm
here. just be
scared.
patient.
I'm very scared. Okay, we're gonna move on.
The end, I believe.
Yes, we're TTE season 21.
I think we're gonna have a
So
lot to say on
I
this.
just rewatched both the intros. I didn't really watch the newest season, but I noticed the roster kind of changed a little bit between 20 and 21, where 20 had a lot of the older players like Cookie Crumble and Sedgos, and I feel like a bunch of other like older players, whereas I feel like the 21 didn't have a lot as much. Is that because it was like a reunion season?
Yeah,
Or...
it
I
was.
can say a bit about it. season 21 was originally going to have quite a few more players. I was originally meant to be with my original teammate was actually meant to be Luke Gregory, and then he couldn't play. And then my teammate was going to be Shmeon, and then he couldn't play. So that's two people who were very old school players who were meant to play season 21 but dropped out last minute. And I think there was a few others like Incipiens as well who was meant to play 21, but again dropped out last minute. So the roster originally had a bunch of old players, similar to season 20, but they all just couldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the thing with older players now is a lot of them don't play as much because they have a lot going on. So that's when they are in rounds again, they don't really show up as much, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't know. TTA 21 had a pretty amazing season, and like the final fight was really intense and really good. It was my KO versus Americ, who's in the chat right now, and it was like 40 or 50 block range bow where they were both on like, I think Mikey was on half a heart and Bill was on 2 hearts. And
Not even that, I think. I think it was like half a heart each. At the end.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
like
at the
one
end,
and
Bill won on like somewhere between 0 and 2%. It was sort of fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool fight. Yeah. As well, I know Brent died in episode 1 to a zombie, and then Hannah just fucked around for the entire season, which that's cool. Because I think Hannah was definitely a threat in the season because the only other like pretty decent players were Hecticity and Mykael. She could have probably gone on a bit of a rampage, but she just hung out.
She had a chill
She
time,
was
you know.
switching a lot. Yeah. No, I think it was a very good season, and the roster was pretty good. Oh yeah, and this is the first time Maku has made renders since Fission 3.
Damn.
A lot of people didn't know he made the renders for because his name was Glow at the time, and he didn't really go by that name.
Oh, okay.
Community, he didn't really go by that name at all. Yeah, but he's
Ooh.
back now, and
I didn't know that.
these are his renders back. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do just also want to comment on the the team of me and Vedi, and then also the team of Spike and Jamie.
I love that. I love that.
That was an amazing experience. If people in chat are somehow unaware, myself, Veni, Spike, and Jamie all played the season at the same house. We all went to we all went to Jamie's house. Myself and Veni were playing we were in the living room, and Spike and Jamie were in the bedroom. I don't know what they got up to in there, but you know that's for them to tell.
I remember Katie knocked on the door at some point asking to be let in.
She did, yeah. They didn't let her in, thank God. But that was a fun experience. Obviously, none of our teams did well, but it was genuinely like a kind of almost like a once in a lifetime thing. Obviously, it's an RR; it's not that grand, but that'll probably never happen again for any of us. So it was fun as fuck. Ninja, why are you talking in chat?
I don't want to interrupt. I don't know.
I just like read your name in chat. I was like, why are you talking? You're on the fucking podcast.
I just wanted to make a joke about how every time you reference Katie, it kind of sounds like you're talking about a dog.
It does. Podcast, he was like, Katie, grab your toy and get out. Leave the room. Katie, go. It's like
It's the only way I can get through to her.
yeah, I suppose.
I gotta like go down to her level and just be like, you get the fuck out.
Go down to her level. Please don't say this stuff in the eye of the public.
What's the next one?
Move
I
on.
believe that's a Dilemma Season 2.
Is it?
Don't know much about that.
It is. I genuinely don't know.
I
don't think
couldn't
I've
tell you
looked
four
at this.
guys.
I don't think I've looked at this post. What the fuck?
I'm CJYT, Chris MS, and Super Flash or Mikey organize it. Oh my god. No, not is this the song they used for the intro?
What's the
Here, I'll
song?
link it. You'll recognize it pretty quickly. I haven't seen the intro. So.
I'm gonna avoid playing it on stream. So.
It's I think it's
Oh,
the X
you-
song, like "Come, let's watch the rain as it's
Oh
falling."
god, yeah, that one.
Yeah, they use that for the intro.
It's a choice.
It
It's the
seems
choice.
like a decently edited intro. Um, again, this seems
Twitch, I
like
was like,
a bit-
just the chat thing. Twitch does do copyright. It'll just mute the VOD, or the portion of the VOD with the music's playing, and I'd rather not have any of the VOD muted.
yeah, I was about to
They
say
have
that's not
actually
ideal for a podcast.
they have actually done more recently. I think they have been a bit more strict on taking things down
Oh shit!
recently.
Ooh.
I don't think it's that bad, but I
Yeah.
did read that they were being a bit more strict about it.
Yeah, I'm just not taking any chances. I like to upload this VOD afterwards. I don't want to have a huge muted segment.
Apparently, you can get insta-ban now if you break DMCA.
Oh shit.
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah.
that'll be
Not a
fun.
bad song. It works with the intro.
So don't play that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems again. I forget the round we were looking at before. Creation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, it seems like there's a new season 1 gang, which
Yeah,
again isn't really a
it's more
problem,
players,
but it's another round that's like, yeah, I guess it's very similar to other newer rounds.
Yeah, it's just I think this is part where my research going into this kind of lacked. I didn't check out fully some rounds like this, so I don't have a full. As I said when going in, I didn't see the episode post until now, so I don't have a full idea of what went on there. But it's like, yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think people like in this roster, because I just want to make a little stand here. I think people were talking about this roster or something else, and were saying that it was bad because it was a very non-Reddit roster, which is a point I do not agree with in the slightest. Not that it isn't like a non-Reddit roster with some of these players, but more the fact that it's not good because of it.
That concept kind of bothers me in general. Like, I don't really understand why.
It's been a weird
like-
problem, like with some rounds for like it's been a thing like in like the subreddit for like years now, where it's like if you have a roster of people who aren't associated with Reddit, people will immediately say it's a bad roster for reasons of it not being a Reddit roster.
But if they're on the Reddit, then it is a Reddit roster. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand what's the difference.
Yeah,
I don't understand why there's this divide. It makes no sense to me. Like, if they don't want to post around to the subreddit, they don't have to post around to the subreddit. I don't know why they have to be a subclass to, like, almost as if they're not as cool as the other people. I think that's a bit stupid.
I just seeing like the comments of people being like it's a bit they're like as a like a negative point being like, oh, it's a bit of a non-Reddit roster. It's like who gives a shit? Like
Why
Is
does it
that
matter?
as a negative?
I think it's
It is a
something that's
non-Reddit
stupid.
roster, but like I've never really got why that's a problem.
it's just it being a non-Reddit roster is not a complaint. It's just it's a statement. It's just this roster has a lot of people who associate with non-Reddit. That's just the fact of the matter, and that's not good or bad. That's literally how the roster is composed.
I mean, I've played a few non-Reddit rounds. Does that mean I'm non-Reddit? Like, does that mean
Yeah.
any round with me in it is immediately shit? Like, is that what they're trying to say?
Yes, that is exactly what I personally
I
am
mean, that
saying.
is
Joe, if you
valid.
play around,
I
with that.
understand.
Okay,
You've been
cool.
kicked.
Also, Brink, just to touch on this because you said it in the chat. I'm not saying that they share similar rosters, Dilemma and Creation. I'm saying that they both fall sort of within the same group of people. I'm not saying that they are very similar rosters within each other.
All right, we'll move on now. We strike a section of a lot of rounds coming out now. So, and I think we're starting to hit the point now where rounds aren't even finished releasing yet. So, Evo season 19.
I
Yes,
did not end up playing that one, so I'm unsure.
I
what
did.
happens. Hey, FlameOrb, newcomer,
I-
right? This is your debut.
Yeah, I debuted this season. Oh, you made the logo for this, but yeah, this season was a team of 3 where game modes were turned on by random actions, like the beginning of episode 1. Maverick turned on, I think it was Blood Diamonds, almost instantly.
That's really cool. I like that. Dude,
Yeah,
that's
I
actually
think-
that's such a cool idea.
I think
This
this
is
game
stuff
has been
coming
used
out.
in
You gotta be
Evo.
careful what
Yeah.
to say about this, I think.
Yeah,
legit-
no, I can
As of
definitely
right now, the
understand.
most recent episode's episode 6.
Yeah, it's not over.
Okay.
Okay,
Episode 7 comes out
but
tomorrow.
we can't say who won. Don't be careful.
Nope.
Be careful.
Yeah, but I had a good time. I think most people did. I like the intro a lot. I think Daft did a good job with it.
Yep.
Mhm.
I like the vibe.
I think season's going pretty well so far. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty
I'd say so.
I have not much to comment on this. Just looks good.
Yeah,
Excited
it's
for the
just-
finale.
It's an Evo season.
Stay Stay tuned for the finale.
Game
everyone.
mode's quite
Check it
creative.
out.
Yeah, I like the game mode. There, the only thing I can really comment on from the intro straight up is that there is a team of Jamie and CL, Diana, and BJR, which is very notably weaker than most of the other teams.
BGR, man,
But,
he's
Isn't
nutty.
BGR like really good?
It's
Yes,
it's
but
it's
Evo is
weird. It's like
the highest
it's
skill round on the subreddit.
yeah. It speaks a lot. It speaks a lot more about Evo, the fact that a team with BJR in it could be a weak team.
Yeah, like there's a team
Evo
of
has
Kel,
a
Soul,
lot
and Mav.
stronger roster PvP wise than it used to. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's only gotten stronger.
Yeah,
I think
like the
Evo's always
only-
been quite strong, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean straight up, like it's always been stronger. It's
am-
just like the stronger players that have changed over
I'm
time. Like it used to be X
Officially
Hockey and
a
Lennox.
bottom tier Evo player, and I wear that title proudly.
Same, bro. That just means we get good teammates.
Exactly, man. I can team with
Yeah.
whoever I want now.
The
Yeah,
mind
there's
games.
there's a team of Phenom, Shagas, and Michael, which is very strong. But it's not like overpowered in this roster where it very much would be in most other rounds. Yeah. I think like the fact that it's a strong round hasn't changed over time. It's just the strong players. Because it used to be X Hockey and Lennox were like the really good players and Tragic. And now it's like Kel, Big One, and then like a lot of like Twinkie, DKP. Like it's
Yeah.
still high skill. It's just the people
Mhm.
have changed.
Yeah. All right. Next up we have Geology 6.
Which apparently someone said the finale just came out, but none of us seen
I
it.
have checked. I was looking for
Came
the
out 4 minutes ago.
yeah. I checked. I was looking while I was
I think
getting
it
up.
was the finale anyway.
I was
don't
getting
know.
up a little page so I can check what the most recent episodes of the rounds were, and I have the finale there as it listed as submitted just now, so it
So I don't
is
think we should say
fresh.
Who won, 'cause I feel like that's spoilery, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
Bob had
well,
that
if we're still live in like 20 minutes, we can talk about it. But as of right now, we're not going to mention anything just because it is literally very live.
What's
Apparently, people in
being
chat are
said
talking.
the
Yeah,
chat right now?
people in
Yeah,
chat are talking
that-
about it already. But if you're just listening to this, we're not saying anything. We'll move on. Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. Geology.
We can talk about the whole season before the finale, though.
Yes, we
Right.
can. I played this. I thought the game mode was terrible.
No, I don't think it was terrible. No, I played it as well. I thought it was kind of creative. I kind of liked it because like the idea of geology is it was like one of the first like proper like 1.9 plus like rounds that like stayed
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
And like obviously you want to use all the new stuff. Like for example, season 4 they used the Totem of Undying, which is something that doesn't get to be used very often. And now this season they're using one of the new enchantments, which is Mending,
Yeah,
which I actually kind of like. I really like that.
I like
but
I
do
like
understand.
I like the concept of that, but my counterpoint is not a lot of the new stuff's fun, and the mending was just not. The mending was just like it was such a it didn't feel interesting. It just felt like I think I said this in my commentary like several times. It just felt like busy work. Like it was just it didn't add any it didn't add depth. It just meant you had to spend more time doing this. And it was like you put in more effort for the same stuff, and there's like nothing really to gain from it. It was just more effort to do the same things you already did, and you gain nothing from it. You just had to spend all this time repairing shit, and it was just a pain in the ass. I felt it got really tiring, and I died in Ep 2, so
Ooh. Yeah, against your point a bit, Joe, there are some members of the round as well in the chat, Brink and T-Firm specifically, saying like the game mode was good in concept, but it wasn't fun. Yeah. They're just talking about how
No, of course. Everyone has their own opinion, of course. I was just saying the point in argument to Dom, that was all.
yeah. I think it's fine that they're exploring the all of these features, but it's just that I don't think all the features lend all too well to game modes, and this one proved that it didn't.
No, of course, I get that.
It was a pain to play. Just spend so much time just getting levels, and then like managing your armor and your tools to make sure you repaired the right thing. It's just
You have the organizer in the Twitch chat if you want to comment on that.
Oh yeah, Brody's here. I'm calling you out, Brody. I mean, I've told Brody this already, so it's not like I'm talking shit
could
behind his
you,
back.
Dom?
I
How could you call him out in the middle
like
of
when
the
I
podcast?
when I died, I made sure to tell Brody. I was like, I did not like this. But it's not like I'm sitting here shitting on him behind his back. I think it was it definitely felt quite split, as Brody said. It definitely felt quite split at times. Some people didn't mind it. Some people really fucking Did not like it, such as myself.
I felt similar in the most recent TC season. I didn't really enjoy the. I used to love Dungeoneering, but TC21 has made me hate it.
I think that's fair.
Another thing with GLG6, because I don't really know much about how the season went in the game mode. This is a very large roster. I think it was 52 players and teams of 2. It's a
Chunky roster. Very chunky.
This is an agency or abstraction style. Just a lot of folks here.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what round? I missed what you just said.
Geology. It's 48 total players.
48.
I thought we were
Okay.
switched. Okay.
24 teams of 2.
Yeah, very big roster. Very big. A lot of people playing 1.9.
What's like the largest roster for newer version rounds?
Probably this.
I think this is
I think it's
Is
it.
that it?
Amity.
A newer version,
Amity.
no.
Oh, newer version. Oh.
Yeah. I don't think there's been like a 1.9
Not
one
a
bigger
lot
than
of
this.
rounds like that, besides like off the top of my head, like TGF and Geology are the ones I think of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's
I don't
probably it.
It's probably the biggest like 1.9 plus one. It's just shame I had to be this game mode, personally. It's just I did not like it. I did not like it. I don't have much else to
Alright.
say, honestly. I just did not.
So next up, we have Consumption Season 4.
I do
uh,
actually like the intro of this.
Yeah.
I'm watching it again right now. Actually, let me see.
I don't like the preferred food thing, and then as well, it says from newcomer for the newcomers, which I think is funny. But otherwise, I
From
think like
newcomer's
it's a
funny.
well edited and made intro.
Mm-hmm.
I do like from newcomer.
From newcomers is a nice little quirk.
It certainly is.
I don't have a whole lot to say. I think I'm a bit.
Yeah.
My thoughts. I just have thoughts on consumption as a whole, which is just about the food thing.
Can I ask what you mean about the from Newcomb thing? I don't really understand.
So
It
the
has-
in the intro, it says the name of the player, and then it says from, and then like their the first season they played. If they're a newcomer, it says their name from newcomer.
I think a slightly better move would have been from season 4, which is a newcomer. But I mean, I think
Hindsight
From
is
Newcomer
2020.
funny. Yeah, I like from newcomer quite a bit. But yeah, it's a well edited intro.
I like the
It's sort of like it's a non-Reddit sort of roster.
Which
don't-
again, statement, not complaint.
Yeah, no, it is a non-Reddit roster. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that whole thing again.
Is-
It's not a complaint.
I'm not. I don't know what the actual game modes were for this season, but overall, I'm not too huge on the concept.
They
because
did
they're
the food
Concept food.
they did the food thing again. The food thing
Well,
of eating foods give
Well,
you
isn't
buffs.
that like a station? Like, isn't that like what they do every season? Isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't
I
that
was
the
about
point?
Yeah,
They do a Nuzlocke style game mode where they do the same game mode every season. But my problem with this is that obviously Nuzlocke is amazingly coded and is a super cool game mode. The consumption game mode, which I think it's just called consumption, as far as I'm aware,
Food
doesn't
consumption.
have the same depth.
yeah. Depth
And, like,
depth is a
I
key factor.
I don't think there's different ways you can like play around it and like explore it in different
There
seasons.
are an
I think-
unlimited amount of foods like in the world, but I don't know how many like creative things you can do with just eating.
It's
Well, I
it's the
never
thing
watched
that the thing that I think the comparison between obviously I think it's kind of it's kind of mean to compare like consumption to Nuzlocke in terms of comparisons, but it's kind of valid in the case of talking about persisting game modes. The Nuzlocke's one is, as I said, it has a lot of depth. It causes you to play very different, and depending on the typing you get, it changes a lot of how you play, which can change a lot between seasons. Food consumption is open to anyone at the start, so it doesn't narrow you into like in Nuzlocke where you get chosen a type and that's how you play the game. It doesn't narrow you into that. But that's to Nuzlocke's benefit because of how different they all play. It narrows you into one. You're like, okay, I'm playing the game like this. The food consumption one is very broad and open in how you choose to play, but the impact of it does not feel like very much. It just doesn't have that variety to encourage a huge different kinds of play that you would expect from a game mode that comes back each and every time. It's just and like of looking at like the foods, the ones that would provide the most interesting play are ones that are hard to get, and you have to use other, like, you wouldn't get it on your own. You have to involve in the other game modes. It just feels like, because I know obviously there is game modes that they have that give you this food, but it doesn't feel like they're working hand in hand. It feels like you need to have those other game modes to make your core one work. It's like you cannot have a season like this which is just food consumption, because no one would get, let's look at this. No one would get the poisonous potato, which gives you invisibility. And giving you temporary invisibility is an interesting gameplay tweak, but it's on a poisonous potato, so no one will get it. The cookie gives you speed 2. No one's gonna get a cookie. Yeah, no one's gonna get a cookie. Clownfish heals you for half a heart. No one's gonna fish for clownfish.
Same with pufferfish, but
yeah,
as well,
I actually saw pufferfish be used in the season. I did actually watch a bit of
it.
it.
I have no doubts that some of these do happen, but it's just not like feasible to be like, okay, I'm going to be getting some of these. So it's like pumpkin pie gives you fire resistance. You got to make a pumpkin pie, which is like, yeah, a pumpkin is sugar, so you have to use sugarcane on that, and you have to get an egg. It's just like on their own, the game mode has like very little like dynamic play. You need those other game modes just to piece them together. Which is it doesn't feel like a strong core game mode. It feels like it's just kind of limping around, and each season they just put on different crutches.
I feel you on that a little bit, because it's also they tweak it every season, where like they change like the values and properties of some foods, where it just seems like most people will probably go for the same foods in a season, because it's like, oh, watermelon is really strong this season, everyone's going to get watermelon. Or that, for example, it could be different things in every season, but I think there isn't like that much of a variance in gameplay. Like obviously people go in with different game plans, like someone might see spider eyes and go like, ooh, I really want that. But I think most people are going to notice, like, so this one's really strong, so everyone's like, this gives you speed 4, so everyone's going to go for the same thing, and everyone has the same speed 4.
And I feel like you just kind of just laser sight on like one that seems like strong and also plausible to get, and it just seems like, oh, I'll just try and farm as many of these as possible, and your brain just mentally rules out all the other ones as options. Looking at this, like just looking at the list already. Rotten flesh gives you strength 1 for 20 seconds.
That's huge.
It's a pretty good buff. Obviously, rotten flesh gives you hunger as well, but it's a good buff, and you can get a lot of rotten flesh quite easily.
Zombies aren't necessarily rare, and strength is the best effect. So
and as well, wouldn't you want the hunger effect, because food gives you abilities and
that's also actually very true. Hunger is actually kind of a buff at this.
Yeah, because so you can eat more food if you eat rotten flesh, and rotten flesh is already strong. Let's say I eat a rotten flesh, then I can also eat something that gives me speed, and now I have speed and strength, and I'm rushing you.
It's like mentally, I'm just kind of like ruling out even ones that are also kind of plausible to get. You just kind of mentally rule them out, because it's like, why would I spend time doing this when I can just get this item? Like mushroom stew. Mushroom stew gives you haste 2 for 2 minutes. That's pretty good. But why would
That's very useful.
It's pretty useful, but it's like in my head, I'm just thinking like, why would I go like out my way to get mushroom stew when I can just hop in a cave, kill some zombies, and I'll get strength, which is really good. It just doesn't feel like a. We're giving you a lot of good advice here. We're giving a lot of critical analysis of the game mode. You didn't have to pay for it either, so spent a lot of time talking about this. But yeah, it just feels like I think. I kind of do feel like there's some interesting stuff you can do with this. It's just, as of right now, I don't think the game mode is that built for repeated use. As I said, I feel like it needs, as opposed to benefiting from additional game modes each time, it feels like it needs the game modes each time to work, which is not what you want from a core game mode. You don't want to like have something that requires you to do other stuff to make it function.
Before we move on to the next round, Dom said he's giving you that advice for free. I am personally not. I will invoice you, and I will send you my PayPal link for that advice we just gave.
I will be taking a portion of that as well. I think I'm charging like 10. What about you?
That's a bold assumption that you think you're getting any of my money. I will kill you for your share. I will kill you. This is real.
Okay, moving on. Very interesting one. I'm happy to talk about now. Incognito. Let's start off by talking about the trailer. The trailer was.
All they gave us.
Wait, was that a real trailer?
That was a real trailer. Apparently, it was quite funny. It did fuck all for advertising the round, but it was still quite funny.
Is anyone else in the round besides me that actually played, or I don't remember since like we
I
all were on
was
calls,
asked, but I couldn't.
So I think how that ended up being the trailer in the chat was basically someone was like, "What if you made this the trailer?" And then they're like, "LOL, okay," and then trailer.
Yeah.
Pretty much how it happened, but I mean, it was fun to play because like none of us knew who anyone was like at all because we all just kind of joined on the alts and we didn't get to know anyone that was playing except like I went on TS and I'm like, "Oh yeah, what are you guys doing?" Being vague, trying to fish for it, and I found out that they actually were playing, but they were being very ominous about it, and I didn't know. So it was very interesting. But
Yeah, it's a very fun idea, and I like how it was executed. I did know one of the people from the intro, going
me
in
too.
entirely.
I
Yeah,
know exactly. Yep.
entirely because of the fact that Quill ended up playing a private game on that account. Like
I think it was
later
more
on.
than one.
Sorry, Joey.
I think it was more than one.
Oh, did he play multiple games of that?
Pretty sure he played at least 2.
Yeah, he played. Okay, I know at least played one. He might have played more. I know for a fact he played on one, and I was like, why is Quill playing on this like dumb IGN? And then when this intro came out, I was like, oh, I see. I understand now.
he kept using his account. That's funny.
Yeah, it's free alt. Can't complain.
Wait, did they purchase the alts for them? Like, did someone in the
Yeah, I
round
was gonna
purchase all
say,
these
how were they
alts?
obtained?
He said
Like-
they were really cheap. He spent like $1 per like 20 or
That's
something.
still That's still quite insane that you actually
Yeah.
paid money.
He just went out of his way to buy these accounts, which is commendable on its own.
I know he used an alt buying service, which uses old inactive accounts that they illegally crack, which is whatever. That haven't
Legally
been used.
crack? How is
No,
that?
you're saying is-
illegally.
So you're
illegally
saying the UHC subreddit's going to be taken down?
Yes. Mojang
Well,
is coming
Well,
for us.
it was a good 8 years, guys.
Yeah.
No, I have terrible news. A lot of people use these, where I think each account costs like 50 cents. You can spend $10 and you'll get 100 accounts.
I like how you're just broadcasting all of this live when anyone can hear you.
To be fair, these services are already like very prevalent.
You're very publicly available. Everyone knows about these.
I didn't.
This isn't like
look
a
into it.
backdoor thing. Fair enough, I guess. But yeah, no. Incognito is super cool. My favorite part was when the intro released. It doesn't show who the people are in the intro, but there are like blurred out. The people are in the background.
Mhm.
So you can say like,
hard
oh,
to
I think that's ERH dude's skin. I think on one of the teams, so you know ERH dude is on that team, which I think is super cool. Like I see Shy Gus and Chloe. I think that's Kel. And then I see like Mr.
And
Craft and
before the
they're
round 2, we didn't know who was who, but we were all fighting in the arena, and people were trying to guess who was who based on their skill level. Like I was doing that especially. I remember I was fighting one guy who was so laggy. He had like 500 ping, and I remember saying, "Wow, I hope this guy doesn't end up on my team." And he did. And it was Maku.
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh, it's I like Maku." Yeah.
Oh, I love Maki. I think that rules.
It's fun that you can go as far as like clicking on their perspectives without knowing who they are. Unfortunately, obviously, you have to go through their episodes at the end of the day, and it spoils you there. But that's like you can go that far without knowing who all the players are.
Yeah. I think it's super.
Yeah, you could realistically just choose like one alt and just be like, okay, I'm going to watch this person for the whole season, and you will not be clued in at all who it is until everything's done, which is just a fun idea and executed really well.
Yeah. I was invited to play this the day of because this also was spontaneously organized. He did do this the day of. That way
Goddamn.
people couldn't communicate.
That's
on
even
who-
more impressive of the alts then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
he did
why I
it
couldn't
like
play
that
too.
so that you couldn't like communicate with people and know who was in the round. It was a lot harder.
I like that. I like
was
that.
really cool.
And then like if you do that, you would probably need to make a Discord, and then everyone knows who's in the Discord.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so we
I was
actually
invited-
DM'd everyone the IP and all that, which was
Mhm.
interesting.
I said no because it was a random teams game with a roster that I couldn't see. So I don't know.
I think that's a fair call, and obviously the hindsight is kind of unfortunate, but at the time you're being asked, hey, do you want to play a random teams game? I can't tell you who's playing. It's like,
I don't know if I do. Yeah, I don't think that's fully done releasing yet, as far as I'm aware.
latest episode was episode 5. Does not seem to be the finale, so it's still happening.
All right, cool.
Oh, I
I
was
was not
about to say something about how the season went. I can't say that though. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all the rounds we're talking about now are also all still coming out. So we all.
I do believe all these have not finished releasing.
I think
So
since Evo 19, I don't think any of the ones after that have finished releasing.
no.
I think the things before that have though.
So, I think are we good for the next one?
Yes.
Nothing coming out. I mean, not much else to say.
Next one,
Do
we have a
Golden Globe.
Golden Globe.
I wanted to make a segue into this one earlier when you were talking about like the seasons. And you said Midsummer. I really wanted to like segue into Golden
Oh.
Globe
Oh,
because they're doing a Midsummer's Night Dream. I'm really mad that we had to wait this long.
I get
That's
the
an
joke.
awesome segue. But Dom, I can't believe you. I know this is not a Reddit round. They just posted the intro on Reddit, but Predacephaly's 10 intro was posted on the Reddit. It's organized by Razgur and Dafts, and it's a Spanish
Yeah, I
round.
was looking at that one, but I didn't see any episodes. So I'm like, wait, why is there an intro from 8 days ago with no episode?
Yeah, it's got
I-
cool art. It's a cool intro.
Yeah,
That's
I did
about-
also skip the Bacon Craftia intro as well because there's not much we can talk about for that either because there's no episodes.
Yeah, it's no episodes.
Fair enough.
Golden Globe. I don't have a whole lot to say.
I know they had a big gap, right? It's
Yes,
like
it's been a while.
Scott Peary was making the intro for about a year, and then they just said, "Okay, you're not making the intro anymore," so they got Ember.
Speaking of
And this
that,
intro
What?
took about 2
Ninja
weeks.
made the background set intro. Is that right, Ninja?
What was
Or
that?
my mistake.
Uh,
You made the
Golden Globe.
backgrounds for this one, right? It's
Just one because Summer asked me to. I wasn't like super involved.
Gotcha.
Sorry,
Oh,
a
yeah.
year.
Yeah,
It was.
this
I think it ended up being like, was it 11 months? Ended up being.
I did hear some people talk about it like a while ago, like in a Discord, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But what, a year?
11 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Scott
not a year.
Peary,
That's not a year.
it's a month off of a year.
It's nearly a year. But you
So,
know,
how-
it's
how could you
it's
lie to
close
me?
enough. It's close enough to a year where you'd get a bit uncomfortable about it.
You get
How could you
around.
lie
You just
to me,
round
Dom?
up a little, you know?
Sorry.
11 months, that's fine. A year. No.
I
Oh.
personally don't understand how, as an organizer, you can just let Scott Peary do nothing for like 9 months.
I would just switch after 4. Like, yo, you still haven't
Yeah,
started.
Like after like 3 months, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm getting someone else. They like 10 months.
At least when you have like when All Stars got delayed, that was like the intro makers like switched like after a couple of months. There was
Yeah.
no like single intro maker on All Stars 5 who sat there for 9 months.
And like that's like an event season, so you would expect
Yeah.
it to have like a grander
Gotcha.
intro. It wasn't.
It's,
just
yeah,
kind of,
you'd
like,
expect people to spend a lot more time on the intro for that, plus the fact that it ended up having switching a lot faster. This is just a season of Golden Globe where someone sat on the intro for like 9 months, and that's quite insane to think about. Obviously, it's one of those things in hindsight we just be like, you should have just changed quicker, but we don't understand the full circumstance behind it. It's just as a concept, thinking about it, it's insane.
I did start watching one of their perspectives. I think I watched American James, and I remember like James was talking to Bill about how he won Pathfinder 11, and that was like quite recent. And I was like, how long ago was this recorded? Like Pathfinder 11 was ages ago.
This was recorded in a completely pre-COVID entire world.
They
Yeah.
had no idea what was coming.
Yeah, I remember I opened some commentaries like as COVID was beginning, like, "Hey, this is probably gonna come out like deep into it. I hope we're doing all right, but I don't know if we will be. I think, yeah, we're probably not." So,
Yeah, it's very dated, especially when you look at the roster. I'm not going to say any names in particular, but maybe
There are some people who are
there's
quite
maybe-
hilarious.
there's maybe
I
like
would argue.
there's maybe like one or one person who, in hindsight, is a very bad look in here.
I can't believe that Summer Bash is in this round.
I know, it's disgusting, honestly.
Oh yeah, as well.
Controversial figure.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the intro much. I think this is a very strong intro, except like the first half is amazing, and then I think he just ran out of backgrounds or something, because the second half is just they're sort of floating in a pastel void, and it's still very well edited, but it's very jarring to have like the teams floating and like actually interacting with the settings in these custom made backgrounds to just floating in a pastel void.
Yeah.
It is still very well edited. I think I definitely would have preferred either one or the other. It's weird that it just switches halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I
agree with
do.
that.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just agreeing with him. You can make your point.
Words I can't speak. I was just gonna say, Brodator in the chat said apparently they were waiting on the final touches for like almost a month with no response. And I don't know anyone who wants to see what Kevin or Scott actually did to the intro. Like if he was just in the final touches, I kind of want to see like what he was working on.
I'm making a little unrelated RR. This tangentially unrelated to RRs, but it's kind of how I feel about this situation right now. I'm not going to accuse Scott of anything particular. I was following the development of this an indie game, indie fighting game for a little while, and the lead developer was talking about how they're working on builds for the game, and they're planning on getting a very early alpha build with like one character out for a tournament, and that never happened. And then they eventually quit the project and blocked all of the people involved in the game. And then they found out afterwards that there's literally zero evidence that they end up actually coding anything. And they think that their one screenshot they showed of them developing the game in Unity was photoshopped to look like there was a game running there when there wasn't.
That's impressive that they spent more time on the Photoshop than actually working on something that could have helped them.
Yeah. This is a complete unrelated side tangent, but...
That's kind of depressing.
Yeah. Not going to accuse Scott of anything, but...
I would be interested in seeing what Scott has, but... Scott, you're my good friend. I appreciate you a lot. Dude, I have a strange feeling that you may not have been doing the final touches on this intro.
I think if by final touches you mean Team 2.
Yeah. Final touches, you mean the intro.
The final touches on the logo appearing in the first 2 seconds. I gotta make it like burst a little bit,
The final touches of the choice of music.
I'd like to, as well, just... Piece 300, I think, sums it up pretty well. Pain.
Yep, pain. Absolute pain.
That sums it up pretty well.
Absolute pain.
I think we're good to move on to the next.
All right,
intro.
next, I believe we're caught up to the most current as in,
yeah,
yep,
we're...
it is
The moment you've all been waiting for, apparently.
Party of One.
Party of One. Actually, I have not read the post yet, so I don't know what the game modes are. Let me have a read through here.
In this originally,
I have a few things to comment on about it.
Yeah, Joey can say.
Fun, really good concept. I love the concept of the solo commentary. However, to say it was hosted well would be an understatement. There was a good few game modes that were planned that, as you might have seen in some people's perspectives, didn't end up going well because their game modes just didn't work. I don't know what really happened, but I know self-diagnosis was meant to be one of the game modes, and that didn't work. I don't know what exactly happened. It was played on Arctic. I don't know what Arctic did to the plugin, but self-diagnosis just didn't work. And there was a few other things as well that were planned that just didn't happen. I don't really understand, but that all got sort of solved in like the first 20 minutes, and after that, the season from there, from what I can say as someone who played it, other than like the beginning, like obviously some of the game is not working. All I'll say is that the rest of the season is very good, and you should definitely watch it.
All right, it's a good shout out there. This is my first time reading the post. I'm just going to pick out two things that bother me. First of all, I don't know why you'd ever willingly refer to your round as the abbreviation poo.
Yep, they do.
I
ban
don't
the-
think he realized that until like almost
I
after.
think we gotta
it was
start
done.
calling it Boo UHC.
I think
If you were going to
Wait.
give me the option, if you're going to, if Gavin is going to make this, is going to post this post and be like, I'm going to make sure it says poo here as a valid way of describing this round, I am going to use that description. I'm going to call this poo UHC. You've given me the option.
But you gotta like make one of the O's lowercase, one uppercase, like out of orbit. So it's
Yes.
like P lowercase O uppercase.
Poo.
One other thing that I also want to comment on is that a lot of people in the chat are now discussing that roller coastering was disallowed for this season.
I can see why they did that because it's supposed to be a very commentary-based round, and
Yeah, commentary.
I
roller coaster.
understand that, but making the game a tiny bit unplayable for the people playing it probably isn't the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it in a way. Like, I don't know if that's just me being like an old school UHC player,
Yeah.
but roller coastering
kinda-
and strip mining is boring as hell.
I mean,
if I can avoid doing it, I will do it.
strip mining, to be fair, I think is obviously
That can be
completely
disabled
valid.
in our own
But
games.
I think roller coastering, just in the UHC in general, just ends up having to be one of those necessary evils, where it's like, yeah, it's kind of boring, but it's also like it's like a bandage on a wound that will never heal. It's just you have to have it there, otherwise it'll just be much worse. Because having to force people to find caves all the time just fucking people over. Like if you find a good cave early on and you run through that, you'll be fine. Roller coastering allows people who don't find that good cave early on to maybe find that good cave. But if you disallow it, if you don't find a good cave early, you're kind of fucking boned.
One thing I could say is that like I think it is good for like PvP, especially in a free for all round where especially since there's like not as much good commentary going around with like team dynamics. Like having a round where like you're forced to like go to the surface if you don't have a cave will induce more fighting, and will in which case also make it more interesting. So that in one respect I can also
That's true.
It's good.
That's true, but it doesn't feel very good because the people it's forcing to fight are the people who don't want to be fighting because they don't have stuff.
Yeah.
While the people who would, you should be encouraging to fight, the people who actually have stuff, they could just cave all they want because they're fine. And the people who didn't cave.
See someone in their cave too. Like it's not hard to just be running and see someone who's in a spot, and like, that's also part of it.
Mm-hmm. It's not too keen of that. I just want to say the other thing that kind of bothers me, I'm not gonna lie, is reading how the game modes are connected to the theme. My brain just goes, like it makes sense, but I don't
wanted to do game modes.
with a theme this strong about emphasizing the commentary and stuff. Just do the interviewing bit. You don't have to you could have depths, you could have permanite, you can have no tab, but you don't have to justify it. Like, you already have this thing which looms over as the key part of the game mode. You don't have to then try and go, oh, we're doing depths because this is to mimic how a good interview reveals the deepest parts of a person.
It kind of fits that thing we were talking about earlier, where you can make anything fit certain scenarios if you try hard enough.
I've never seen something like this before, where you have you have a concept, but for some reason you're making it into a pseudo concept. You have something you could be specific with, but you're not.
I feel like it's more like
bad
a
game
joke to
modes.
be clever kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, these are the game modes, but it's funny if we make it sound like Party of One, in a way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I genuinely hope that it's not a real justification. I just want to just do game modes and then have some looming commentary thing. Don't try and justify the game modes as part of the commentary theme, because it just reads weird. It just reads so weird.
For next season they're gonna do Enchanted Death, and that's to mimic the fact that everyone who's ever been interviewed will one day die.
I love it.
Enchant them with their commentary. See?
No, next season is Paranoia, because when you're public speaking, you get kind of antsy and paranoid, so it gives that kind of effect of oh man, I'm kind of nervous for this interview.
Yeah, Party of One seems cool. The game modes are fine. I just don't see the permanite to help highlight the player's darkest secrets.
Yeah, it's
I don't see a
the
need
game
to have
modes.
that.
The concept's good. The game modes are fine. Just reading the justification is just so weird.
No.
I cannot describe it any way more than just the sound. Eh.
Yeah, Fair enough.
That should be a new round. You got poo. Next one you got air. E-double-H.
No, you need PUHC.
They've made poo. When's pee?
Party everyone everywhere.
I'm making a new pod round.
Pee.
All right. I think that about wraps
Is it
up
just,
that one.
oh, invite everyone who's ever guested on the podcast. There you go.
There we go.
I'll just make a quick comment. I like the roster. Roster looks
Yeah,
good.
I think the brand has potential. I think
They've built a good roster for commentary, and tell it's like number one priority. And unlike I will say unlike Gateway, it seems like going into the skill of this is not too varied. There are definitely good players, but it does not feel as bad as the skill gap that Gateway had.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'm cool to say this. I was invited for season 1. I joined. I was the first person invited. I saw the roster, and it was a lot of people I didn't really know, so I ended up leaving.
I think that's for a Reddit based about commentary. That's fair.
Yeah, that's why. That was the main reason I left.
I mean, it's a
Well, I think it's
a
FFA
free
every
for all round. Like yeah.
I also, right, sorry, I forgot what I was talking about. He was going for a very low skill roster where Joe, I think you're probably the best player there. Either you or Mr. Kraft. It's a very low skill roster.
Hey Joey, I know you laugh, but you gotta look at the other people in the roster. They're not very good.
There are some people there who can definitely kick my ass.
We need names.
Ripples is probably up there in the round.
I'm gonna say one person you guys probably actually no, that would spoil things now.
I'm not
gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna be quiet.
Wait,
I think
Sam,
that
who did you
about
say?
wraps up the Roundup. Oh wait, I don't know if I said someone there.
Oh, I thought you said a name of someone. I guess not.
No.
Yeah, no. It's a very incredibly low skill round.
I'm just throw it out. Just might as well summarize it because it did come out. No episodes have come out, but the mythical intro did come out. About the Wendigo.
Yeah. I think it's a well-made intro. My biggest problem with this intro is that it's not teams of 2. This is an FFA, but he made a team of 2 intro, and it's just alphabetical.
I didn't know it was
sorry,
FFA.
that's a consumption intro. My bad.
Like the wrong
I
one.
linked it in the Discord. This is an FFA.
Yeah.
2 players appear at a time, and it's like consistent, always 2 players at a time, and it's very not clear that it's an FFA. But also,
I'm currently
I
watching it
think
now on mute, because I haven't seen this yet.
yes,
I feel like if he did like a little verses in the center,
yeah,
it would indicate
like
that
the,
more. Problem I have with the
It's a Red Rover round,
perspective
1v1s all
intro.
season. That's what that means.
put like a verses in at the end to fix.
it's very not clear this is a team of 2. Or sorry,
Yeah,
it's very not clear it's an FFA.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
As well, we don't know the game modes or anything, but Kelosmus said that they're incredibly confusing, and someone apparently there were 3 attempts at this season, and Max has said he played all of them, and he didn't understand what the game modes were until the final attempt, where he barely understood them. So I'm very excited to see what the game modes are for
This
this
will be
because
interesting.
everyone seems incredibly confused.
This will be very
Oh,
interesting
my
then.
God.
I'm very interested. Oh, Max is in the chat. He said that is correct.
But, cracks fingers. Is it a paradox time? I think that's the end of the roundup there. Ooh, got my
I think there is one last thing we can mention, because it now has been 40 minutes since the geology finale came out. I think it's probably safe. You can mention it. We're not going to spend long on this, I don't think.
Let's watch it.
I saw one comment in the Twitch chat that is interesting quite a while ago. I'll leave that to you guys if you guys don't mention it.
I think it's just, the only thing to really comment is there's no winner's perspective, which kind of sucks.
Yep.
Apparently, it was a half a heart win, which is always cool,
Mhm.
but there
No
isn't a
footage.
winner perspective, and I think it was
paradox 3, but there was no spec, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Kahooter wins, but he did not have footage of the win, which always just kind of sucks a bit. But this means
When did he? I'll be honest. I left geology somewhat soon after the season, so I didn't know this. But like, how long? Like, it depends. How long did did they know that he didn't have footage for? Like, if it was like
Oh,
immediately
we knew
after
day
the
of.
season.
We knew day of.
I'm reading in the artist script. He said he knew that this happened the day it was recorded.
Yeah, we were still in the we were still in the post game call when he figured out that he didn't have footage.
Okay.
I don't know why this was.
Why didn't you redo?
Apparently, it was a really good season.
Okay, yeah, I think
If
quality
you don't
of
have a winner perspective.
the quality of
Wait.
the quality of the fights were good. Obviously, the quality of the quality of the season as a whole. I think the main reasons were A, the season wasn't really that bad, and B, no one wanted to play this game mode again. So it would have required to make a new game mode.
You just
Do
did.
we-
Make the game mode. Change
Do we
change it,
know,
make the game mode.
Yeah, but the thing is this game mode took like a good amount of effort to make, and it's just that we made this game mode. It kind of was a bit meh, but we got a good season out of it. We'd have to scrap that good season and also make a new game mode because they weren't going to use that one again. So it was just like it's not really it's a bit maybe it's a bit sunken cost, but I think it makes sense. I can't really comment on it because I think I died up too, so.
Yeah. Also, do we know if there was a other perspective for the final fight? Because if there was,
There is a spec POV linked on the post. There's a spec
Okay.
POV of the finale linked in the post.
Is there just no POV for the final fight other than the spec, or is it that there is just no winner POV? Because
I think it's just there is no winner POV.
Oh, that's nowhere near as big of a deal in that case. I thought there was no POV for the final fight at all.
Talk that too much.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a round where that happened once?
Yeah, that
Paradox.
was mine.
Wait a minute. No, didn't yours have like a spec or something?
It had a spec, and then the other player that fought the finale person.
Yeah, so there was something.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought there was a round where there was straight up no spec.
Agency Season 9, I believe, didn't have a winner perspective. I think, like, Walshy fucking clutched it, but there wasn't a perspective. I believe there was a spec, though. I think ODog spec that season. Yes, he did. So it wasn't a huge deal, but definitely not ideal.
I know as well that think of just from memory. I know that I think it was Kratos 3 went for a full day without any perspective of the final fight.
That's the one I was on about. That's the one I meant.
And I also remember that one of the original takes of a World Cup season was scrapped because there was no one in the final fight nor the second to last fight who had any footage.
Man, that made me so sad. So, it was me and Max still for that attempt. I subbed in for someone I can't remember. I think it was Blah, who's played now, so that's not spoiling. I subbed in for him, and then I was just put on the main team for the redo. But I got first blood because I went into Nether literally the moment Ep 1 changed to Ep 2. So PvP turned on when I went through the portal, and Sweden was right there. I got first blood on Sanji, and then I think immediately died. And then Max 50 as a solo went on to get 6 kills and Canada top fragged. And it made me very sad that got redone. But yeah, fair enough.
That original take also went amazingly well for the Scotland team. We just got potions and then kind of kicked ass for a bit before we died.
Yeah.
But
the final fight was Greece versus America, right?
I think that's correct, yes.
Because it was Lenboy and Rise Greek Gamer lost their footage.
Yeah.
And Rise Greek Gamer was removed, this is public knowledge, because he did tweet out a screenshot of the spawn before it was recorded.
Yeah.
Several people and the flag was on the ground. He's like, well, it doesn't say it's World Cup anywhere, but I mean, there are the flags for all the countries on the ground, and there's like 10 people in the screenshot.
Okay. I think for that,
that's a teaser, a hype hint. What do you mean?
I think the original team for the England team for that attempt was me and Bill, I think, or something. I know I think me and Bill were meant to team in some. Bill, were we meant to team in that or something like that?
Bill just said, "Team England did not have fun that take."
No, I didn't. No, I never teamed with him. I think I was invited, but I said no to one of the attempts of the Team World Cup season. I can't remember. I might be wrong. It might be something else completely different. Bill's in the chat. You can confirm more than I. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm probably just talking out my ass.
That was one case of that, but thankfully there is still at least 2 ways to watch the final fight from Geology. It's just you won't be able to watch from the winner's perspective. So it's not all that bad. It still kind of sucks a bit, but
As long as there's a perspective with the final
if you can still watch it, it's not too bad.
Hmm.
I think that does now officially conclude the roundup.
Crap.
It only took us 2 hours and 20 minutes to do so.
Sam, I was about to ask if you want to crack your knuckles again because you already did that.
I'm
Thank
cracking.
you for doing it again.
There we go. Knuckles have been cracked.
So now we get to talk to our guests about their round, which I think they've been wanting to do for 2 hours now.
2 hours now.
Yes, I would like to talk about my record around Paradox,
Yes.
Oh yes.
and it is mine, and I'm in it. I play it, and I love it.
Yeah, FlameOrb most representation of the round.
You did such a good
I
job.
represent you, the viewer, as I said during the intro.
Represent Paradox viewers. All right. So yeah, I'm the Paradox organizer. Welcome to the Paradox segment of the RR podcast. I want to briefly start by explaining what the round is for those who have seen it around but have not seen what it is exactly. Paradox is a round that takes place in a multiverse of different realities. Each season takes place in a parallel universe that is a different version of the Earth we play on. Basic UHC takes place on Earth 1, but so far all of the seasons have visited different Earths such as 707, or 404 rather, 356, and 007. Each season has a custom theme and a different terrain to explore. The theme is helped by each season having a fully custom resource pack overlay that introduces custom mobs, color schemes, and different forms of healing each season. The round has a huge in-depth storyline that will be more evident as the seasons go on, but in the next intro coming up, player cards will show what Earth each player is from, and that may hint at the Earths that will be visited in future seasons. So that is basically the summary of what the round is, but Paradox counter? Oh, I think it was about 7 during the 2 hours. I brought it up about 7 times, I think.
There's quite a few.
Gotta follow the theme of the Paradox edition. But yeah, there's like a few things I want to touch on. Like I do a few things different in my organization, such as the roster. I have never done votes and probably never will. Every single ad has been a strong arm, and I do that because I want the Paradox roster to be a complete mix of different groups and old players, and just kind of like what I based the round on when I first made it was, wow, a lot of rosters look exactly the same. Let's make a roster that isn't exactly the same. And that's where it kind of all started. And now I go for shock value newcomers for each of the seasons. There is also I have not redone any season, and I will never redo a season, unfortunately, because of the amount of work that goes into each season. I'll talk more about how a season is created, but for each season, basically the amount of work that goes in is about I'd say about 72 work hours per season, based on creating the world, because a lot of it is by hands, and the resource pack and the game modes and all that. And then the last thing that's kind of different is we do seasons 2 at a time. So currently the 2 seasons are recorded but are not out yet. Intro is being almost complete for this upcoming season, so keep a lookout for that. As a little hype hint, I suppose I'll drop is this will be a 2 worlds in 1 season, Clash of the Worlds, and you will see what that means when it comes out. Winking face.
Ooh. Fun insight.
For the future of the rounds, there is, like I mentioned, a storyline that goes 10 seasons deep, but after 10 seasons, I have future plans that'll go until I'm bored, such as voted on Earth which one to return to with updates, where you are visiting an updated version of the Earth where changes have overgone it throughout the years, and it'll be basically a newer version of it, and other stuff such as fun Earths that may not be in the storyline but are also in the multiverse. There's a lot that goes on with the storyline because each player is from a specific Earth, and there's storylines behind every single player in the round, such as, for example, there is a medieval Earth that we will be visiting eventually, which obviously Gavino, the mage, is from that Earth, and Fencewood the sandwich was cursed by Gavino in the storyline to be a sandwich for life. There's also a bunch of random stuff like that, such as Dash Dude. His storyline is he is a god from his Earth with unlimited power, but only unlimited power from his own Earth, and he's completely powerless and useless on every other Earth.
Sam, I would like to ask a quick question about this.
Yeah.
I feel like Danny has a decent hand in this because
Yeah,
as
that's another thing I
a,
wanted
a
to mention
close
too.
friend of hers for a few years now, she has an RR multiverse where she, for all the rounds she creates art for, she has backstories for like all the art, and like Aperture is the villain of the RR universe, and like
Yeah.
has backstories for everything.
Yeah, actually,
Like,
going on to like Danny, like this is the part where I want to do some huge shoutouts, like behind the scenes work and stuff. Like the amount of work, like I mentioned, is like 72 hours per season kind of thing. Where it's like I have some helpers that help behind the scenes, like Danny, a few other people like Nolan and Drake and Energy Pulse are people that help me with building and placing builds in the map. Because once the world is created, we actually manually place the structures in the world, and we do that for a while. Like the season coming out has a special custom tree that is in one of the worlds, which we actually spent almost a full day just placing trees everywhere in the worlds. Like it is an
Christ.
atrocious amount of work that we put into it. And then there's like Danny also helped out with the packs of a lot of the season. Well, starting with season 3, I did the seasons 1 and 2 basically everything on my own. That's when I realized that it's way too much work for myself. But Danny actually came up with the majority of the concept of the strongest season being season 3. I kind of like altered some stuff to make it more like UHC because Danny is way too creative for UHC sometimes, but it actually ended up working out in favor. Um, the season that not next season because like I said we're 2 seasons ahead. 2 seasons from now Ninja actually helped out a lot with the world there, so shout out to Ninja there.
I think you mean season 4. I didn't help season 5 that
Or-
much.
Or no, the 2 seasons that have been recorded, which is 4 and 5, you helped out with 5, so the 2 seasons from now kind of thing.
Did I help out with 5? I think
That
I
was
think
the one where you put the suggestion in the world. Anyway,
Oh,
I can't really say
no,
without
no,
giving it away, but
Okay, yeah, never mind.
yeah,
Sorry.
no, you're good. And then like as a lot of people noticed, Fra won the contest to get in the round, so it's public knowledge Fra is there, and Fra is now helping with packs moving forward because a lot of it is mundane work with a lot of textures that need to be recolored and stuff. And then like yeah, that's like majority of the work. Shout out to like those people for helping behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's majority of what I wanted to say so far.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Ninja, is there anything you want to touch on with Paradox at all?
I just want to say, like, as a player, it's probably my favorite round to play by far. Like, it definitely feels like a whole new game every time. So, like, I don't know. It's the type of thing that I get really bummed if I, like, miss one of the worlds, which I did recently. And, like, it just sucks because you can't go back to it, and it's so unique. But some of them we were.
Yeah.
I mean, like some of the Earths, like I mentioned, could go back to like after the storyline is done, where I kind of want to revisit Earths occasionally, like with updates and stuff. But then there's like what was I gonna say? Lost my train. Oh yeah, like you were saying, like what's your favorite round to play? That's actually like a lot of people were mentioning that like it's the only round they would actually like change plans to play, and it's like super like encouraging as an organizer, which actually kind of leads me into the next thing I wanted to kind of talk about on the podcast was like organizers in general, which I believe everyone here except Ninja is like an organizer of a rounds where it's like, I mean, the recorder rounds aren't obviously as viewed as they used to be, where they're kind of like going down in viewership. So there was a point where at, like around season 2 of Paradox, I kind of got a little discouraged, like is this kind of like worth doing anymore? But then you kind of have to like change how you look at organization, where now I look at organizing Paradox as I am providing a game to the players, where it's like I'm trying to focus on the players opposed to the viewers, of making the most fun experience for the people playing the game. where Paradox is unique is it's kind of like almost a custom map and a UHC mixed in one, where I'm trying to make a unique experience each season for the players and try to have them have the most fun each season. And then that's like the most rewarding part, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
you guys are organizers as well, so if you guys want to like touch on like reasons to keep organizing, like rewarding parts, all that, you can feel free to and all that.
For me, it's just a lot of like the reception stuff, and just if you get like you get a season out, you put a season, and people like watch the season, they're like, "Damn, this is good," and I'm just sitting there, I'm like, "Yeah," because I think it's clear we both have quite different mindsets, because you're organized a lot for the player, I organize a lot for viewer. Obviously, that doesn't mean fuck the players. It just kind of means I think I get a lot more out of making something that people watch, and people like who watch it go, this is entertaining. I like watching this. It's just nice to see that. It's also nice to see stuff like people saying stuff like, oh, when's the next season? Because it's like people clearly anticipating like watching it. Like the amount of times I've had people ask about TDC, because that's been gone for ages. It's like it feels good to know that it's something that if created something and worked on something that people want to see more of.
Dom, have you just suggested that you are killing TDC and not doing anything for it? Just
Okay.
So people ask where it is to build
No. That's it's not what I'm saying. TDC is suffering right now due to just real life stuff with organization. It's kind of had to take a bit of a backseat for a long time now, which is unfortunate. But people clearly still want to see the round, which is nice, and I don't want to kill it. So.
Like also going off of what you said of like reception of like the Discord and stuff, like that's also another huge part of like why I keep doing it too, is like I love seeing like that people actually enjoy it. A lot of people say it's like their favorite one to watch, and I'm like, yo, let's go. And it's actually like a weekly routine of mine to like go in the RR Discord and I control F Paradox, and I always see when people talk about it, so don't, if you guys have like mentioned it, I see it, don't worry.
Oh god.
I control F it every single week.
He's always got his eye on the ball.
I do.
Don't look at the spoiler chat.
Can't hide shit from him.
I control F that. I see you, FlameOrb.
Oh wait, no, I told you not to look. I just like fucking hate Paradox in the RR Discord. I can't believe you saw.
All right, but yeah. So also like going back to like how I never would redo a season of Paradox. It's kind of also like Paradox works a lot off shock value, where a lot of the seasons I love watching the reactions of the players to seeing the mobs for the first time. Like season 3 had the rats as all the mobs, where they were actually like freaking out, like, is that a rat? Is it gonna kill me? And like same with season 1 with the custom like passive mobs as like evil mobs, where they were like the bomber mushroom. And I remember there was a reaction video of 4X just seeing it and going like, what the hell is that thing? What the hell is that thing? And it's just so fun with that kind of stuff, and like I don't know, it's awesome.
I definitely agree, and I think it's a commonly held sentiment with both players and viewers that a lot of players, people's favorite round to play is Paradox for the people that are in it, because it seems like a lot of the game modes would be super fun to like partake in and like participate in and like just to play. And especially with like not knowing a lot going in, like I agree with like the shock value with some of the stuff, like the villagers in season 3 having like robot voices. They're like, "Hello, how can I help you today?"
And people were freaking
shit
it
like that.
out. And then
That's
if I
scary
were
as
to
fuck.
redo it, like you wouldn't have those genuine reactions to like what is going on. Like that's why I also really don't want to ever have to redo a Paradox season. The only way I would is if it breaks, or I don't know.
I actually have a funny story about the robots in season 3.
Go for it.
So like for half the time that I was playing, I guess the skeletons had like a whistle sound that I didn't know about. And it just sounded like just sounded like a person whistling. And I was with Nolan, and conveniently it sounded a lot like Nolan whistling.
And he thought he was whistling the whole season.
For like at least like 75%, maybe like half of the season, I just thought Nolan was like whistling a lot, like just at random intervals. And eventually I just asked him like, why are you whistling? He's like, What?
So there was a few questions for Paradox. I'm gonna get to those in 1 second, but I just wanted to touch on like how the world building kind of works for Paradox, where it's like a lot of the worlds that are coming up, like in the actual multiverse, is based on actually the player's skins or how Danny makes the art of the skin. Of like, if there's an overlying theme of a lot of like barbaric skins or like medieval skins, that's why the medieval world actually comes in because it puts them into the actual multiverse and a storyline is developed. So it's also like there's I keep almost saying something about a season that isn't out yet because there's 2 already recorded. But like for season 3, like world building for that was like I wanted to be kind of like it's hard to say like a scavenger-esque like end of the world kind of thing with robots that took over. So there was like the scavenger biome where the deserts were junkyards and you actually had to dig in the junkyard to find random robotic parts to trade with the robots for things in vegetation that is no longer existent in the world. So it's like really complex kind of like game modes like that that like gives the life into the world kind of thing. Um, and then obviously season 3 also introduced the first sound pack, fully custom sound pack in Paradox, where that actually was very beneficial for I think the season where a lot of the reactions were very genuine, where it was like, what do I hear? Like what's going on? Like I don't know. It's really fun.
Yeah.
um,
Okay, I had something I wanted to say, but I completely forgot it.
Nicely done.
Yeah, but for the questions I saw, the Zika storyline is there is actually a Earth where all the animals are sentient, and he was one of the sentient animals that went rogue, and he ended up getting killed off by everyone else on the world because he was a danger to society,
Oh,
and
shit.
that was him getting kicked from the round.
Actually, I would like to retcon what Sam just said. As I previously said in the chat, Zico went to hell, and that's why he doesn't play anymore, is because he is in hell in real life.
Yes,
Real world
that is-
hell.
That is what I wanted
That
to say,
is
that I forgot
canon.
he is in the real world hell. This has
That
nothing
is-
to do with Paradox.
that is definitely canon in the lore. And
And
then
then
also
after
for
Zico was
Fifty's
killed, he
asking,
went to hell.
if the winning game mode for the contest that Fraud did will be in, I think it'll maybe be in post season 10 where it's more of like the fun game modes that are like not part of the storyline, because this first 10 seasons have a very important storyline that is actually I planned 10 seasons ahead before I even finished season 1. So like
Christ.
it has been like leading up for a long time. Everything is all like planned. I have the next 6 seasons planned still, so it's like I don't know if it'll be there for a while, but I do want to eventually put his idea to use. And then, oh man, what was I about to say? What were we just talking about before that?
Zico going to hell?
I lost my train of thought completely there, but
Rip.
yeah, no.
Yeah. I feel weird with you like organizing 10 seasons ahead, because I like to organize a little bit ahead myself. I like thinking of game modes for future seasons, and especially with Casino,
No, like-
Hannah gets mad at me for like thinking about team sizes for like even
Oh,
like the next
no,
season.
It's so bad because I actually have the next 2 seasons. I have the teams already made.
Me too,
I
dude.
planned
I
all the
love
teams
making
already.
teams. It's fun.
God.
Oh man.
Who's on my team?
Yeah, actually,
can't say
I'm
that.
gonna read off the Casino season 4 teams live on stream.
Oh, I get some exclusive teasers. First,
Yeah,
it's not done
every
yet.
newcomer and all the
Oh
teams.
wait, no, I just remembered what I was gonna say. But you go ahead.
I'm
I
not
was
going
gonna
to do
ask-
that. You go ahead.
Okay, so also like for the thing with like contest winners, I don't know if the game mode is always used when a contest winner wins, because like Dom, like when Ninja won the Phobia contest, I don't know if is that world ever gonna like happen, because it's kind of like hard to
It should.
use, right? With fully undergrounds kind of season.
I don't know. It's nothing. I don't think we've ever really discussed it. I'm not gonna immediately shut it down and say we won't do it. I won't promise anything either. I'm open to doing something like that. It's currently not in the plans.
Because that's kind of an example I used for my judging process to the judge for Paradox one. I'm like, you don't really have to judge it on whether or not it's like an actual thing that can happen playable wise. I want it to be judged on creativity. So it's kind of like, for example, it may not be used, but if they actually have a cool like idea for a world, then I think that they deserve to win the contest still, regardless, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fair.
But that's how I kind of looked at the contest. So let's see. Let me look. Oh yeah, so I got some fun facts about Paradox on my notepad. So, fun facts: the highest health a winner has had in Paradox is 31%. There has never been
Cool.
healing up in the game.
God damn.
Nice.
And let's
Definitely has
see.
some close seasons.
Yeah, some pretty close seasons. Especially I feel like the unpredictable winner for season 3 is pretty cool because just the
That
timeline
team
of
was
events of like
definitely the
grabbing
worst.
Diana, getting enchanted right before meetup, then going and then winning a 1%. That was pretty nutty.
That team was the worst in the game, and they took it home just so narrowly. And they took out like Fenso and Nauticon, who were snowballing really hard.
Yeah, that was an
That was
incredible
cool.
ending.
That was a really good finale. It's a shame with the
Another
footage thing, but it's good.
Another interesting fact is I was trying to do different intro makers every season, which might have been apparent with season 1 being Jacob, season 2 being Nolan, season 3 being Fensua. I ended up the season that has an intro being worked on right now had an intro maker drop, so it is reusing one of the first 3. But I do have plans to ask different intro makers following this kind of thing, where I have like people in mind. Ninja's gonna be making one pretty soon. Shout out to Ninja. one of
I
these
cannot
ones.
wait to make a Paradox intro. Thank you for the offer, Sam. I
Ooh.
will be making the season 7 intro.
Eventually,
letting
I
you
might join the intro maker scene to make an intro for Paradox. But
Ooh.
if I do, it'll only be for Paradox, and I will never make another intro. Just a forewarning for everyone.
I feel like Danny could make a crazy intro.
I feel like
Danny's,
that too, yeah.
I think, made 2 intros before.
One was for what was Reggie Floats' rounds? What was that?
Incidendo.
I
That one
feel
was
like
a bit
Danny could make
weird.
that one. Yeah.
Reggie Float made the season 2 intro, and it wasn't the best. So Danny just made season 2 Redux and just made her own intro, which is
Mhm.
significantly better. But she did it without asking Reggie, and it has more views than the original intro now. And he was
Aw.
very angry about it. It
Yeah.
was like 2 or 3 years ago now, but still. Yeah, Danny can make some pretty cool intros. Sam, you got a question in the chat?
I do have a question. So my favorite Paradox intro, publicly would be season 2 likely, and then non-publicly, I feel the intro coming out is. I'm gonna be bold and say at least top 50 all-time UHC intros. At least top 50.
Ooh.
It is an incredible intro.
Bold
say
claim.
Bold, very bold claim. I'm gonna be even bolder and say maybe even top 40.
Oh.
Top 10.
I'm gonna be even bolder and saying top 30.
Oh.
Oh,
Top
you haven't
that?
even
Any
seen
toppers in the
it.
chat? Any toppers?
Top 1.
It's the best intro by far. It's number 1 of all time. It is the winning intro.
I actually, I would like to announce that All Stars 5 is now bad, and that every other intro is now going to pale in comparison to Paradox 4, and I want everyone's expectations to be around the level of the All Stars 5 intro.
But the All Stars 5, but All Stars 5 is shit now, so shouldn't our expectations be?
Oh God, no!
Low.
The Paradox 4 intro shit. I didn't consider it.
Disaster.
Man, I'm sorry, Sam. I just killed your round.
It's all right. I was gonna kill it anyway. Paradox is over. This is an official announcement, a PSA. I'm canceling this upcoming season, and Paradox is a trilogy, and that is it.
The entire time you've been talking about like, the next 10 seasons planned. I think it'd be awesome if at the end of this podcast you announced that season 4 is now the final season of Paradox. So sorry to ruin your surprise there for the end of the podcast, but now they all know.
So,
Paradox is
from like an
done.
outsider viewer point of views, what do you guys think of the Paradox roster? Do you feel it is a standout, like very wild? Because I remember when
Oh,
I
it's
first
it's
came,
definitely
people-
weird. It's definitely
Yeah,
weird.
a lot of people were
weird is
saying, like,
definitely
what
the
is
word I
that
would use.
roster?
There's the Boat Clan people as sort of like the core because that's your friend group, and there needs to be some sort of core to a weird roster. Otherwise, it's just gonna be random
Surprisingly,
people.
as of right now, I don't know if it's true for season 3, but as of right now, Boat Clan is not the majority friend group that is in the rounds. I actually kind of limited Boat Clan ads because I'm like, I don't want it to be seen as Boat Clan around, so I told Boat Clan I'm not adding any more. Sorry, guys. So that's
At
kind of where
Boat
we're
Clan.
standing there. At Boat Clan.
At Boat Clan, go away.
For newcomers
but,
are
it's
some of the best
Then
newcomers.
it's kind of
in,
funny because then once people join, they become Boat Clan because Drake Numbers was not in Boat Clan when he was added to season 1, but through Paradox joined Boat Clan. So it's kind of like interesting because it wasn't intended to be like a core Boat Clan round, but
You may
people
try and
join-
stop Boat Clan, but you can never truly stop Boat Clan.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, but it's definitely a unique roster.
Mhm.
It's got that core where it just has some players who aren't super unique, but you need that. Like, you can't just have a completely crazy ads for the entire roster. Like, you need some people like Mr. Cute or Only Cosmia, where it's like they're a reliable uploader, they know people in the round, they're cool.
Mhm.
Exactly, because that's the
And
thing
then
I've
you have
noticed
some
about,
fucking
like,
crazy ads on
PvP.
top of that.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed about crazy ads though, is that like, how do I put them on a team? So you kind of do need like a few people that makes teams easier to make, but then like generally every season I like to have like at least a few like just what? How'd you get him in the round? What? Or that's usually my goal. Yeah.
It's worked pretty well so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you've done
And
a
I
good
gotta
job of
say
that.
these following seasons coming out, I think it'll work as well.
I'm very excited.
Very pumped.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm just
But
curious-
another thing, service announcement for Paradox is hopefully we'll be coming out a lot sooner between each other because as of season 6, I think, no, season 5 we're on, is the round is getting a little large for my taste. I believe we're up to like 60 members in the rounds, maybe
Ooh.
in the high 60s. So the thing is I'm probably only doing one newcomer per season, which means less time waiting for art, which means closer together seasons. So look forward to more Paradox in the future.
Woo.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
If you're just curious if you got some more to say on Paradox, because I think we're gonna move on to a final segment here. I don't know how long it'll take.
I believe that wraps up just about everything I wanted to say. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Cool. So, just to end off, since we usually have some general talking points, we've had some general talking points throughout the rest of the podcast. I thought we'd just try and close it off with just doing some chat questions. So if anyone, it doesn't have, it could be about, as long as it's RR related, it's open. It's just if anyone has any like a topic we want to talk about, any like point to do with rounds, you could ask more questions about Paradox if you want. You could ask more questions about any rounds we organize. Just open up the floor to some questions. I'm happy to answer. We'll see if we can do our best to discuss them. I've also thrown a message in the Discord. See if
I was
anyone
just
there.
about to do that, and I just noticed you did as well.
Yeah, I've just been sitting on the message on my phone for a while. Should people use
Yes.
doors for PvP
Yes.
again?
Yes.
Why?
Yeah.
I saw Matthew
is
do
the
that
answer.
in one of Joe's private games, and it was
It
crazy.
all started because of Burning. Burning used him in a private in like a private game, not in my game, in another game. And then ever since he's sort of brought the meta to my group, and now everyone's using doors.
Yeah.
So
And
is
it
it
worked
kind
out
of just
for
like
Matt.
walling?
I'm
but
expecting the
walling?
next R&R season to have doors.
It's an instant 2-high wall, and
But
you
it's-
can open it and shoot through it.
I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I never
it's
thought of it like
definitely a unique strat.
How come I haven't
Uh,
seen that on Arctic, like with meta players doing that?
I don't think it's gonna become a meta. I think it's definitely like a unique sorta like, whoa, what the fuck?
What if
I
you
think-
learned how to place a crafting table just right where someone's gonna shield, and then they open up the GUI, and then you just have a free kill?
It's a million
That's a
IQ.
big strat. But if the big Arctic players, like if Peppermint, Nightbot, Shatter start doing that stuff, I'm going to break into Leon TG's house and delete Arctic. I'm not
What if you
dealing
start
with
meeting
Nightbot using
iron-
doors against me.
What about iron doors? Like it's harder to break.
Oh no,
Ooh.
dude, don't give them ideas.
Instead of blocking off of stone or cobblestone, just block off of doors.
Run down a strip mine and place iron doors.
All right, moving on. Okay, opinions on we kind of touched this a little bit, but opinions on conceptless rounds versus pseudo concepts versus solid concepts.
So I think for concept lists, you really need to rely on your other aspects to kind of like carry the rounds. Where it's like you
Yeah.
need a really good roster, good production, intro, and like logo wise, all that jazz, renders, art, whatever. Because there's not a lot to fall back on. So I think that for your round to stand out with a concept list thing is you need high production. Where I think that's why, like for example, like abstraction has no like real concept, but it has, in my opinion, really good like production and good seasons, which is why I think it is like a pretty successful round kind of thing.
I think for me, Fission is the perfect example of a conceptless round
Oh,
that works perfectly. The roster, production, the seasons, everything about it is so good that I don't think it needs a concept.
I can agree to that.
Versus
Mm-hmm.
some pseudo concept rounds, like I'm gonna bring up Conception because I organized that. It debatably has a concept. I didn't create it. The idea behind the round is a little bit stupid, but it does
No,
offer a lot of
Conception
flexibility.
has the word concept, so your round is literally just the
It
concept.
is concept of concepts. Yes, I don't know
When's
what
that,
Snack
when's
Apple.
that season coming out?
Oh, you
Is the
know, Danny the Cool is very slow.
I'll
No,
ask the question later.
No, I didn't mean
Oh,
yeah.
the concept
I
of
just meant
concepts.
yeah. When's the concept of concepts coming?
Yeah, I was wondering what you meant by that.
No.
season. Wait, did you? No, you didn't.
No, I'm
Sorry to tell, the Sonic Joey is not a season 1 returner for the upcoming season of Conception.
It's a disaster.
When do I break the record?
I mean, with at this rate, it might be another 4 years for Conception season 8, so you could get there.
Yeah, I
Would you
think
consider Paradox a Pseudo kind of concepts where it's
I'm
like,
going to punch you.
it's
but no, listen,
Concept
'cause,
on
like
the
I can
separate.
literally I made the concept because I'm like I can do whatever I want with this because if I want a medieval season, I'm going to a medieval Earth. If I want like a wasteland season, we're going to a wasteland Earth. Heck,
it's
if I want a
kinda,
season
but
with
it's
machine guns, I can go to a machine gun Earth.
it's kinda, but it's also you still have like some restrictions, not necessarily restrictions by theme, just kind of like actual like almost physical restrictions because they still all have to be kind of like tied to a parallel
Yeah.
dimension.
That's true, and like custom terrain, all that. That's
Yeah, it's still you can do a lot, but I don't think it's quite that.
Where does he want?
Also, yeah, I think people are quite distressed at your pronunciation of pseudo.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know what to say, so I just called it Persuado.
You said Persuado? I didn't hear that.
Persuado.
You want to pull the Paschetti with your Persuado? Bro.
A lot of questions. Jeez.
Yeah. We're going through them slowly here. There's been discussion before about favorite intros in 2020. What are your favorite intros you've all have on your list this year so far?
Oh, God.
Man, what
I
came
gotta,
out
I
in
gotta like remember
2020?
which ones come out this year.
Yeah,
Is there
I'm
a
actually like
playlist-
really struggling to remember what came out this year so far.
Is there a playlist of all the 2020
Let's
ones
go
so far,
through
so I
them.
can like refresh my mind?
Is there a list of them? I feel like someone has to have a list of something.
Playlist of
Tanaka usually makes one. I
I'm
think.
just gonna search intro on the subreddit and sort by new.
UHC intros 2020. Yeah, there's a playlist. Paradox being the first.
Yeah, I know we
Um,
did
Can I have a link?
first.
Can I have a
it
link?
came out January 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can drop it in
like
the
it,
drop it in this Discord chat.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a little bitch and say Casino 2 was one of my favorites. I love animated intros, and Hannah,
one-
like that was
one
the
is
first
very
time
strong.
she had
Casino 2 was beautiful.
she killed it.
It did get my episode 6 copyrighted though and taken down.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
A bunch of people's like I think everyone had one episode that was taken down, which is so strange that only
Yeah, mine was the
one episode.
finale.
Oh god.
Thankfully, that all happened after the montage was made, so it's not a huge deal. But
I was able to re-upload mine, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know about everyone else though.
yeah, Mythical
That's a
3
baller.
was an amazing
Oh,
intro.
okay.
as
So
well.
this is gonna be a controversial one, but it doesn't count as UHC. But I really like Survivor UHC's season 4 intro. Com versus
Yeah.
Crazy that Jacob made. That's probably
yeah.
my number one.
He does a great job with them.
Yeah.
That
They're
was
fantastic.
a very strongly edited intro, and that was incredible. I've watched it so many times, so I think I'm gonna go with that one as my answer.
Yeah, we are using the light playlist, fancy. Some other. Were there any other like standout?
Astrology 4 was pretty good from memory.
Oh, was
Oh,
that
yeah,
the
Astrology
animated one as
4
well?
was pretty
Astrology
good,
4
yeah.
is a very strong intro. I like Casino and Astrology because they were animated. Those were very strong intros. Let's see.
Vision 11 was very good.
I like Vision 11.
Evo 19 I really liked.
Abstraction Season 6. I always like Abstraction intros, but Season 6 really I feel like is my favorite one so far.
Fair enough.
Hard times, you know, hard times.
Gonna make you wonder why you even
Yep.
try. That song, I think
Everyone
the
said
song
their
carries it a tiny bit just because. Oh, I can't believe we haven't brought this up. Phobia 15. Jesus Christ, Sional, you absolute maniac! It is so fucking good. I
Oh,
love
good
that
shit.
intro.
Always is
Yeah,
good
I
shit.
like that one, even though it's not like technically like the most impressive. Like it has a very good like feel that works really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it feels
I
like
agree.
a Phobia intro, which is a very good mark to meet.
I just love the
Mhm.
vibe with it, with like the music and just like this TV static. I love it.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right. For Paradox, how long does a person's art take normally?
It's funny actually because it very much changes based on Danny's like art block, where sometimes she has like an art block where she doesn't know how to like or doesn't know what else to do. Because the thing is with Paradox is we have obviously a lot of players where she tries to do a different pose or a different body style for each one, whereas like for example Evo has a smaller roster where it's like easier to come up with styles. But Paradox, season 3, all of the art was done in 2 days. But season 1, it took like 4 months, I think, and then like this recent season, I took another 3 months. But season 3 took 2 days, so it's like it really just really alters. It depends.
I definitely
Sometimes 3 comes
a
out in a
lot.
week. Sometimes there's a break of like 4 weeks. Like it's
Yeah.
random. I'm just like it's like a little happy surprise if I wake up and see it there in the art channel.
I could probably touch on this a bit as well with Conception, which is different from most rounds. Is in that I think it's the only round that has like new art every season, like the same way that everyone gets new renders
You
every
crazy
season.
for that, bro. You crazy.
It started with season 1 because season 1 had the same art style as Evo, and people hated Conception for it. So season 2 they got new art, and people were like, okay, this is better. And then Danny wasn't happy with that, so season 3 also had new art, and from there it's just been complete new art in a different style every season, which like usually
I feel
day of
like
recording
the
Danny
most
makes like
recent public
8 pieces of
season
art.
that came out had very strong art. That was actually some of the best Conception art. I wouldn't even be opposed to that just being the permanent art, but
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think the Conception 6 art is genuinely some of the best RR art.
that's my favorite
Period.
Bacon art personally because I have the
It's
pose
so
of like
good.
the stance with the lightning coming. I don't know, that was just incredible. So
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, usually it takes either sometimes there's 2 weeks between art, and sometimes
A
there's
few
like
hours.
if it's a day of recording, it can be like there was 12 released in a day. It really Danny, I
Danny
love her.
also does
It's super inconsistent.
all of her inspiration first, and then saves the one she doesn't know what to do for last. So the last ones are a bit of a struggle to get through.
Yeah.
I've just come to accept now that if I get a daddy R, I'm smoking. It's just I don't know why, but just her canon for me is I'm always smoking.
I feel like all your art. I feel like most of your art tends to be smoking in some
Just be
regard.
thankful
Yeah.
you don't have a
Oh,
color.
Renders. I don't know why.
Yeah, I just smoke now.
Yeah.
That's about
Now
it.
that I think of it, I can't imagine art that you've had where you're not smoking.
Yeah, Danny's just decided that I smoke now, and that's how it has always been.
Help, dude. Just get help.
I don't have lungs. I'm a skeleton. I'm fine.
Oh yeah, true. Maxa asked.
Moving on, yeah,
Zakari-
Maxa says, Zakari and I were going to bring Insight back for Insight of Vision for 2020. We didn't get around to it. It would have been a joke season, though, like Corey and the House Path was as well. What's everyone's opinion on joke seasons?
I have a pretty strong opinion on this, which is shit like Thimblefuck. It's really annoying for me personally because
I'd say
it's.
make it a good joke, like Corey in the house.
I think it's like an inside joke that you're forcing everyone else to laugh at.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, a Thimblefuck," like I don't really get it. They're like, "Shut the fuck up! It's a joke, RR. Why are you taking it so seriously?"
Wanted to play a Team 2 with Light. What was
Yeah.
If
Which is
you
completely
gotta tell people it's a joke round, you fucked up and making a joke round.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I think like joke rounds are
mean-
fine. It's just like when people say like this isn't too good,
Shit.
and
Fuck.
don't get angry about it, because I've noticed that as like a consistent thing with joke rounds. That if people are like this isn't very funny, people get angry.
Mm-hmm. It's just like
I don't
just make a funny round.
Yeah, Magda, I know you invited me for the Return of Insight, and then I replied with a screenshot of the Skype chat from 2016 saying I have never left, so I can't join.
Genius.
As someone who's recently done a joke season, I can comment a bit on this. Hi, Jamie.
Oh, Jamie's here.
Oh my god.
Still going. We're
officially
3 hours in.
in now, so we're probably not going to go too much longer. But welcome.
It just depends on how many questions we get. That's good.
We're just answering.
So in regards to Corey and the House Pup, I can definitely agree with what Noah said about you're basically forcing everyone in on the joke, and Corey and the House Pup is definitely an inside joke into the Pathfinder thing. It's been an inside joke for years now, but I mean, the main reason we did it was honestly just like it would have been so long between seasons 12 and 13, like, and Corona just started and everyone was kind of bored. We just wanted something to do, something to keep the group and roster alive. And and Dom, you also said that like if you have to tell people it's a joke round, then you failed as a joke round. So many people seem to like think Pathfinder 12.5 was real.
I prefer to interpret that as people just being fucking idiots. Because I don't know.
I joined the Recorder Man Discord the day it was released, and people seem to think it was real, and I'm like, oh,
like there's
it's fucking Corey in the house.
It's a season that's called Corey in the House.
Wasn't it on April Fool's too, or am I?
Well, it was intended to be playables, yes, but we was ended up playing a couple days later, but and then released like 2 weeks afterwards. Like, come on.
It's like at that point, yeah. It's like if you have to ask, it's a joke. It's I think that doesn't reflect well. That doesn't reflect exactly on the round because it's called Corey in the House.
The only thing that I'm mad at the people who thought it was a real round, that like people seem to want stats for it. I'm not making stats, but I said someone else could. I'm actually kind of disappointed there isn't any stats. I want to see how many times Katie died. No, but okay, no. Getting back on topic, I think having a joke round is fine. Like as long as like it's obviously as it's shown that it's meant to be like a joke season. I don't think it works well in a one-time concept like the Thimble round did.
Players and
like,
flavors.
It's okay, Joey.
Players and flavors was not was not a joke round. I
want you to know that I was talking to Jar when he came up with the concept. He said it as a joke, like we were coming up with terrible concept. He said players and flavors. Each season is based on a new flavor. Season 1, vanilla, and then it dies. That's the only season. And then Cyclone messaged him about 3 months later, like, "Hey, that players and flavors idea, I actually liked that."
Yeah, it wasn't a joke at the time. Anyway, that's not. Anyway, it's not. So
Yeah.
like, sorry. Golf try. Yeah, like I think it works well with record rounds that already have a few seasons going for it, because then it's like, okay, this round has a reputation. You know the roster. You know how they will get along. That's cool. You get to see them like in a not so serious environment. That's cool. But if you do it in a round where there is no concept behind the roster, you don't know how all these players work together, and you've just organized a one-time round for the hell of it, it's not enjoyable. I guess it's similar to some one-time rounds where you're just having a round for the purpose of having a round, I guess. But I feel like for a joke season like the Thimble one, it's even more so. Like I just think it's complete. Like there's just no need for it.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's fun
And,
for
like,
the people who are involved, but then you, on top of it being fun for the people involved, and like Ninja and Light won and had a great time. On top of that, you are now releasing that to other people who aren't having fun with it, and it's just like, oh, okay, so it's like, I don't know, it feels like you're being told to laugh at a joke that you're not involved in.
That's why I think it works. That's why I think it works well with rounds that already have like a built roster. Like that's why I think it would work well.
Like using the Corey in the house path example, like it was something that started out as a group event and then became sort of this joke RR season. Like it was initially just keep us all busy during COVID.
And then I actually even
community.
Yeah, I actually even allowed people to stream it. That's how bad it got. Well, not bad. That's what I actually gave people permission to stream it. No one did it though, which made me kind of sad. Like I was like, this is a joke. Why does it matter? You can stream this. I don't mind. No one did though, and I think it works better.
What helps a lot with the Pathfinder season Court in the House, is that no one took it seriously when it released. No one watching took it seriously, and if they did, like, hey, this is a bit stupid, no one was up in arms, like, well, it's a joke, so get over it, loser. Which
Mhm.
Oh
seems
no,
to
we
happen
would. Oh no, we
quite-
wouldn't be like that.
like with XD UHC, that was happening a lot. Like Mystic was getting mad at people who were like, I don't really like this.
We were never getting mad at people who took it seriously. It was just like, how can you like, how can we make this any more obvious that it's a joke?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, while we're talking about it, sorry, I will plug. If you haven't seen Pathfinder 12.5, do a lot of perspectives. I'd really highly recommend you go and watch, purely for how much effort people put into them. Like, seriously, I tried to say this in the recording on Discord at the time, but so many people genuinely put so much effort into their perspectives. Like, it's actually ridiculous. Like, if you're looking for something, if you're looking to kill some time, and Merrick, Casey, Jake, and Greep, and other people like put so much effort into it. If you're looking for something to kill some time, I'd highly recommend watching their perspectives just because of how much effort they put into it. That's all I have to say. You can move on. Sorry.
Let's see if we can catch up on some questions here. Let's get quite a few.
Run through these.
99.
Let's just blast through these. Opinions on trapping and RRs.
I don't like it.
I like it
All right.
because if you're making like an actual fall trap, you need to dedicate your entire game to doing that. And if it works out, then it works out.
Because then your entire, like, you just spend 5 episodes caving just to get pushed into a fall trap and you can't do anything about it.
And also, is digging a trap for 3 episodes entertaining?
No, but it is super entertaining in decks where Fruitberries traps Mykael by he gets hit into his own trap, he pearls out behind Mykael and punches him in. That was probably the highlight of that season.
It's like traps make moments. That's what it's kind of. It's they're very if the trap doesn't work out, it just kind of it's a net loss to the season as a whole. But if you get a trap to work like just right, it creates you kind of ignore the time invested in making the trap, the time invested to the player who got fell to the trap, and you just end up just resulting in this moment, like this just memory of the season, which is always a fond moment. That is primarily for long setup traps.
I want to see more variety in traps. I don't want to, especially like I don't want to see fall traps or obsidian traps. I want to see people blow themselves up in staircases.
I want to see redstone.
I want to see more of those trap chests with the redstone or the TNT minecart below.
Yeah.
I've built a few single trap ideas in single player, which I want to do someday. There's one which is like an obby trap, but it doesn't require a player to be there. Like, it's just like an automatic just obby trap. Like, someone goes in there.
Places the obsidian and water.
Yeah. It's like just a trap that if someone encounters it on, like, just at random, you don't have to be there to obby trap them. They just get obby trapped on their own.
A mouse trap for UHCers.
Yeah.
I have an anvil trap I've been wanting to do for ages, but I've just never found the right moment to do it. I was considering doing it in the most recent World Cup free-for-all season, but then I just got distracted.
Fair.
Which makes me sad, because I think it's a good idea.
Go to the next one.
Next one. Brody says, opinions on RR teasers / trailers. What do you want to see less / more of?
I want to see less teasers, more
Just
trailers.
don't have it be kill montages. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Something
The thing is
more
with
interesting
these
than that.
is when every round is putting shadowed out renders on my timeline. I'm eventually gonna
Oh yeah, that's
Twitter.
I'll take this public platform to apologize to Jamie for doing the blacked out art without consolidating.
I had this cool thing planned, and I was going to touch on about it. Rick was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I blacked out some art and put some weird music over it, and we're going to do this."
This is very hypocritical coming from me because I'm doing blacked out art for next Paradox season, but I'm putting them all in the same one. I'm not posting one art per day and spamming time. Please stop doing that.
That's fine. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting 3 per one, and there's only like 4 coming out total. But there's been some instances where I've had to block some UHC Twitters because every day I would get retweets of like 70 renders on my timeline. I'm like, leave me alone, please. Leave me alone.
Less blacked out renders in arts, and if you want to do a trailer, put effort into it. Like,
Yes,
Mhm.
I love trailers that are executed well. I put a
Yeah.
lot of effort in the Paradox trailers because like there's a lot that because I know a lot of people don't watch record around, so it's like I want my hard work to be seen, so people will watch a trailer. They'll see what I do if I do it like this.
It's like I remember a while back, Dom made. My microphone isn't picking up properly. 1 second.
Oh, good.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Dom made like a kind of like a landing page trailer for like I think it was his Out of Orbit 3, and it was like clips of like his perspective and showing off the game mode, and that's still probably one of the best like RR trailers, quote unquote, I've seen. And I think it's a format that's like quite underused. When people do trailers, they want to show off some PvP clips from the previous seasons and tease a couple newcomers. But I'd like to see more from a trailer.
Yeah, I try to like show the game modes and the custom world because my seasons have like custom terrain, so I try to like do cinematics through it. The season coming out next, there is no trailer because basically yeah, I either have to remember before the world is gone or I don't get to do it at all because apparently like the game mode is just gone because I found out Leon has been editing the previous game mode to make the new one, so I have no way of remaking the old worlds.
Oh, right.
So I'm just kind of like, okay, no trailer for this one, I guess. But in 2 seasons, I have a trailer coming out.
I've a little bit of a teaser. I've discussed with Jamie about a future Phobia trailer, which I think is amazing, personally.
Ooh.
And I am
excited.
super excited for that to finally manifest because it is a amazing trailer, and I can't. I'm really excited about it. But it's just about a matter of getting there, which is gonna be funny as hell.
Next, has a continuation to his question from earlier, which is, do you think people enjoy the concept of joke seasons as a whole? Unless it's like an established round that people already care about, I don't think people are too fond of
Yeah.
it.
I think we
Like,
kind
I
of
don't-
like that a little bit, where it's like if
One
you're not in on the
time-
joke, you don't care.
Yeah, one times, and as well, I don't think a lot of people are super invested in Insight anymore, considering it hasn't had a season in about 3 years. I don't think that'd be received incredibly well.
Yeah, it's just it just depends on how willing people are to accept the joke. Because if it's just out of the blue and there's nothing to attach to it, it's just like, there's nothing really funny there.
Yeah.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
What I was supposed to do. It's kind of just a continuation. Like you guys say, like, do you prefer trailers and stuff? Like, do you like it when a quarter van just comes out, like no trailer, no intro, it just appears like
Yes.
out
Mhm.
of nowhere? Like, do you like that? Like that directed to the chat as well. Like, do you guys like that, or do you prefer like the intro coming out first, or like a trailer?
Well, I definitely prefer the
Like
intro.
that can be directed to
I
anyone.
like the intro
That
coming
is
out
how
first, so people can like
intros work,
have
yeah.
time to reflect on it before like
Yeah.
the season starts. But
As well, I do like trailers, especially for like event rounds like All Stars, Rising Stars, and World Cup. I think I really like trailers for those. Otherwise, I'm cool with like an intro just dropping with no like teasers or anything.
yeah, I like when like a bigger round has time for speculation. Like for example, when Rising Stars was first coming out, people were trying to speculate what rounds got in, kind of thing. Where it was really fun to read that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to All Stars 4, which just
dropped
phantom
with
dropped.
no- yeah, it was just like, oh, okay, All Stars is out, sure. All right. Quick
Next question.
Except
Is
Ninjajaja.
I'm the one in charge here. You stop it, okay? You're
Well, you're both part
you're
old
not
man.
you're not seizing the throne for me right now. This is my
I'm really
podcast right now.
I'm really trying to take over the podcast. I'm sorry.
I can
We're trying
tell.
to become regulars here.
When you started reading out a few questions before, I just kind of brushed off and I was like, all right, it's fine. But I can see through your lies. I can see through you. I can see through you. You're
Public
trying to
service
steal my stuff.
announcement: FlameOrb is not the head of this podcast. Just so we
There
all
are
just so they
3
might be-
regulars here, and it is not Dom, Jamie, and Joe.
So next question.
I've completely lost like where things happen. Okay. I found the next question. Yeah, question for everyone except Ninja. What is your favorite part when it comes to organizing a round?
It's hard for me because I like a lot of things. Like I like making teams. I like designing the concept. I think number one would probably be watching what comes of the production, like seeing an intro to my round come out because I love watching intros and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's most people's favorite is just seeing the reception to your intro coming out, and just like seeing if people enjoy it and like when they do, like that feels good. But I also enjoy like the actual organizing part of it. I love making teams. I love just like the actual like behind the scenes production of the round itself rather than like the renders and intro.
I like
For
when
me, it's things going right on the day.
Yeah,
That sort of a wave of relief that everything's sort of gone as it meant,
So-
gone as it was meant to.
Question
Yeah.
for fellow organizers. I find that when I play Paradox, I don't really get to have fun because I spend the whole time answering questions or I try to fix
Yep.
stuff. Do you
Oh
guys
yeah.
find that too?
Watch my TDC one. Watch my TDC season 1.
Watch my
comment.
Pathfinder 4.
Yeah, my
I just-
commentary is
Me answering questions.
it's some of the worst commentary I've ever done, and it's entirely because I was so stressed with the whole thing. It's
Also,
I kind of hate playing. It's like it's always kind of hate playing.
Honestly, same.
I
both
don't
of
know
the
if this
rounds
is
that
a good thing
organized
that I
are
do this,
relatively
but
simple.
I try to die in my rounds, but I try to do it to make the flow better for a season. So like for season 3 when Red was steamrolling, I went and fed the purple team, but made it look like I died. So
Oh.
I try to help the flow of the season from like an actual fair point of view, where it's like I'm still playing, I can do what I want.
If you ever want to win, sorry.
As for why I enjoy organizing, I think for me it's just getting the group together. Like Pathfinder's like kind of evolved into like this group. Like it started out as me inviting all like my best friends or like just friends into a round, and it becoming Pathfinder as it is now. And now like we don't get to have the whole group together that often anymore. So when we actually get to have the entire group together, we all get to play like one round. It's really cool, and just like being here and like I don't know, it's just a sense of community, and I really like it. I mean, sure, like seeing everyone's reactions to everything else is great, and all. But to me, it's just getting the group together is by far my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Quite a wholesome answer, I know, but that's my answer.
It's kind of a vague one for me, but I just like when everything comes together. Like when you work on all these like little individual bits and it comes together into one like this full package, and it's just so satisfying.
Oh yeah, like I get that too, where it's like I put so much work into a round for so many months. The day of the round, it's almost like I'm about to perform. Like I feel like nervous. Like oh my goodness, it's the day.
I
It's
get
the day.
I organized 2 relatively simple rounds with Conception and Casino, so I don't get like a lot of questions. It's like the custom game modes, like it just people ask what the command is, and I'll give that to them. For the most part, that's about it. But I do get super nervous, like day of, like.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
What I've kind of actually ended up doing is I'm a sub for my own round now. Like I don't want to play. I'd rather spec, but like if someone drops, I'll just put myself on a team. That's kind of what it's come to.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I was shaking during the Conception 6 talking intro.
Oh god.
I organized that season with Teresa debatably, and she just didn't show up day of, because she slept through it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, just say I didn't organize the season because I didn't do anything." That was like the most nerve-wracking experience ever. It was the worst.
Pathfinder's always so stressful to me, man. Like, I mean, as much as I say I love getting a group together, like it's so stressful. Like, because like you got to make sure that there's like that everyone shows up. You got to make sure that all the game modes are working. Like, we do at least like 2 or 3 test games of every season before we actually do it. We've only ever had one redo, which has helped with
That's the scary
that.
thing of Paradox is I can't test because, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is a huge part of Paradox is shock value of like people seeing everything for the first time. So I can't have test games.
No, I get that.
It's such a gamble for you.
That
like,
kind of makes me have more respect for you, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be able to do all that stuff.
every
without
season, you
games,
just got to gamble that the game mode works, and you just got to gamble that the season goes well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pathfinder would not work without test games. We do it, as I said, we do plenty before the game goes, and I'll like even then things just sometimes don't work out on the day. It's just how it goes. Like the original game mode for Pathfinder 8 was, I don't mind saying this, it was I think 4 or 6 big teams, or teams of 6. Soul Brothers Mumble or something. No, it wasn't Teams of 8. It was at least Teams of 6. It was Teams of 6 Mumble, but it was Soul Brothers. So it was like 3 different worlds. It was like 2 people from each team were in each world, and Mumble took about an hour and a half to set up. No, that the game took an hour and a half to start, and then it was a complete steamroll. It was not good, which is sad because we replayed that season.
Yeah.
And yeah, he couldn't, and then he didn't get, and he hasn't played since.
Tragedy.
Yeah, even when you test, it still doesn't go well sometimes.
One last thing, organizing. Mumble is a lot of fun, but it is hell to organize.
Oh,
trying to get everyone to test with you, and then like finding out 5 minutes before start, 3 people still don't have their mumbles working. Oh my god!
We live in the year of our Lord 2020. There should not be anyone playing RRs who doesn't have a mumble setup.
There was a failed Conception 6 take where throughout the entire talking intro, someone was setting up Mumble, and then at the end of the talking intro, they were like, "So, my Mumble doesn't work. I have to go.
Oh my god.
I can't play."
Name and shame.
Dr. James, I'm looking at you. You're dead. You're fucking gone.
Speaking of leaving after an intro, I will say I have not been in the past 3 abstraction seasons, but I've been in 2 of the intros. First one I had to go because the intro we started so late that I couldn't play anymore, and then the third one I lost power after the intro and couldn't come back.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna kind of push for the next question here, so we can get through these.
Grounds. Thoughts on Stream Grounds, guys?
That's the next question. God damn it! Next
So,
question.
guys,
Next
thoughts
question
on
is:
Live
who is the best upcoming intro maker?
Oh, I missed that one.
I'm excited for Hannah to potentially make another animated intro because she learned so much. Like the early teams she made for the casino intro, like she had to redo because they looked really bad in comparison to the later teams, where she learned a lot more and got a lot better. Yeah, Jar and Cold had to get redone because they looked so like robotic and stiff.
I saw some of the early attempts for season 2 and it looked really good. Like even though you said, like, is it going to be? That's insane. If it's going to be even better.
A lot of my favorite intro makers aren't really coming up anymore, so I can't really say them. But I've noticed an increase of quality of some recent newer intro makers. Like, is Yellowbit still considered new? I think Yellowbit makes some pretty strong intros.
Yellowbit's been back for like 3-4 years at this point.
Yeah. Like, who's the new intro maker?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Clickercat, CN Spencer. I'm not sure what IGN she goes by. She does she did a Bacon Crafter intro. I think she did Gateway as well.
No, that was Ninja who's in the channel.
Hi. She's in Gateway as a member. I'm a fan of her intros.
Yeah, she was in Gateway.
Yeah, I just wanna. Yeah, I think I'm excited to see what Scott Perry works on. He's been working on intro for about 9 months. Working on intro for about 9 months now.
Screw off.
If Perry ever releases an intro, I will be
9 months working on an intro. It must be good.
Yeah, it must. That's the thing, is that it was too good to release and they got too nervous.
Okay, now I've thought about this for Paradox. What are your guys' thoughts on this? On getting an intro maker, an editor from Fiverr to make an intro?
I mean, that's how. I'm pretty sure that's how they got the animator for Astrology. It was just some person that they paid.
That's awesome.
And now they're in the round and have made 2 intros.
I mean, I guess it works. I don't know if something I personally do myself,
editors
but
on Fiverr that don't actually charge that much, because I've been watching some random videos on YouTube of just like Fiverr editors like hiring 100 Fiverr experts to make me a pizza commercial and see which one is the best. And I'm like, wow, these Fiverr editors, man, they're actually pretty good for their price.
Buy 5 of them and release all of the intros and have people vote on which one's the official.
You get episodic intros like AP10.
with different intro. Oh shit!
I gotta get some Fiverr intros, man.
Oh shit, that's a genius idea.
All right.
Okay. Thoughts on early meetups for RRs versus Ep7 meetup?
Depends on the skill. If it's high skill, you're gonna want more time for meetups. So like earlier meetup, I think.
Yeah, like Fission, Dex, Evo. Like
I think Ep7 nowadays is still pushing it. I think Ep6.
I think game modes are also a major factor. Some game modes you need time to give for, so you don't want to have like too fast a season that the game mode doesn't impact anything.
I feel like if a season has always been one episode meetup, it should stay that, because I remember TTE once did an episode 6 meetup, and it was so out of the blue for me because like every other season before that had been episode 7. So I dug down in episode 6, and then all of a sudden Vinny was like, "It's meetup," and I was like, "Wait, what?" So I had to come up, and so I had to come up, and I died. I was like, "What? I thought it was episode 7. What happened? It's always episode 7."
Yeah, it's
like-
usually not best if you're gonna do that. It's usually not best to like change it like at random for like one season.
Yeah.
Like Pathfinder will always be episode 7. That's just something that's just personal preference. I feel meetups should just for me. I feel like meetups recording should always be after 2 hours. But of course, I completely get that skill levels a variety of skill levels also definitely means that they should be like shorter meetups, like Dex for
Depending on
example.
how long
Great
the
idea.
meetups will be.
Like 80 minutes is good,
Mhm.
but for Pathfinder
Those
would
are,
personally
like,
always be
cuddly
2 hours.
easy boys timber as well with Dex. So
Mhm.
making
Yeah.
that not a 5 meetup would be a
Should
bit
we
weird.
close off new questions after this too? Because we're at 3.5 hours now.
Yeah, we'll try. We're getting through a good amount right now, so it's not too bad.
In case more come out while we're answering, so we have
Yeah.
like, unlimited questions.
Yeah.
Please also say
Yeah.
that you were wrong about the astrology intro. Apparently, he's just Fancy's friend from 2015, not Fiverr.
Ah.
Uh,
Um,
also,
Mark
I
my
took
words,
a
Eric,
question from
Fiverr.
Torin.
yeah, I did see that. Don't worry. Thoughts on stream rounds? Go ahead, that one. Stream rounds.
Don't like.
I like
Um,
them. Next.
I feel like they might be a little too oversaturated now. I feel like before it was like an event that people want to watch because it's like, wow, a stream round. But now that there's so many, I feel like they're not getting as many views because it's like, I've
Yeah,
already
I
watched
know.
one like last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for me personally, like as a player, they're a bit more like people don't have the same etiquette as they do with recorded
They
rounds.
play scum
Like
because they know it won't get redone.
stream rounds, like it can't get redone, so people play however they want, and that always like I haven't played a stream round. I was like, yeah, that was a lot of fun. No one sweated. That was really good, and that does happen. Like I'm sure TTE Live was fine. I wasn't in that. But most of the stream rounds I've played and have seen played, people sweat really hard because
Mhm.
I've only played 2, and to my knowledge, I haven't been sweaty. But then again, those 2 live rounds were WMC and TTE, so
Yep.
Not expecting a lot of sweat there.
Doesn't really
Yeah,
say
not
much.
I was thinking of Bit Live where Such Speed bow boosted on who was it?
I
It was
don't
like
think we talk about that anymore.
They,
Yeah,
they,
I think,
they,
that, I,
they,
I
they-
think he got a lot of flack for that.
Coalescence
was
is
rough.
Oh,
I-
wait, no, I played back in time.
it's
Live
like
as well,
it's
never
like
mind.
yes, like
No, I did.
it's like looping back to the really old conversation we were having about like how people play in rounds whether they need to or not. Such Speed did not need to both boost on Reggie Float and D Rory.
It was
That's-
Reggie Float and Rory. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you did not need to bow boost.
know that. Yeah, for all he knows, D Rory's in Dex. So
I mean,
Such
okay,
Speed
I
never is
don't think it's to be fair to him, but who's his teammate again?
X-Hawk.
Hockey, I think.
Yeah,
X-Talk.
I think X Hockey would at least be aware.
Yeah.
Such
I don't-
obviously Such Speed on his own might not be too familiar with them, but
He's used to playing Badline, where by meetup everyone's just full diamond, 40,000 gaps, sweaty as heck, and he's got to do what he's got to do. I
yeah,
think he's from a different community.
he just sees full iron Reggie Float and D
He
Rory, and his
doesn't see
eyes go
players.
big.
It was also I just found this funny. Such Speed thought Scott Peary was going around placing lava all over 0-0 because he didn't know it was Armageddon and he thought someone was manually placing all the lava at 0-0.
That's kind of funny.
fucking Scott Peary. I don't know why he decided it was Scott, but
I'm gonna blame Scott for that now.
yeah.
All right, next.
Torin's big old question: what do you think is important to rounds and new rounds in general gaining viewers? So it's a tricky question.
For me personally, when I see a new round, what draws my attention is first how different the original or the roster is from the other rounds on the subreddit currently, where it's like, oh wow, this is like a really different group of people. And B is the production value of like a really good intro coming out. I'm like, oh, potential.
Yeah, I agree with Sam on that, where it's a roster being really unique and also interesting, because unique alone isn't enough. Like, it has to be, like, I don't know, like, you can't just get, like, a bunch of random people. It's like, see, I have a unique roster now. I think you need to have, firstly, good production to catch people's eye, and then also a unique roster. Because you can have a unique roster with people who play RRs. Like, you don't need original players necessarily. You can make a unique combination through that.
Yeah, it's just something off the bat should be noteworthy. Be that
Something to draw attention.
Yeah. Also, a strong
Now,
concept is
I
important.
say
when you
this
make
very
that.
loosely because I don't really watch rounds. The last round I watched was All Stars, and before that it was like Evo 10. So it's like I just like watching intros, and if I see a good intro, I'm like, "Yo, cool rounds, nice intro, bro. That's
Yeah.
a nice round."
I got a good impression on Notorious Season 1 because it had art and a good intro. Although I know literally about a quarter of the roster. It's like that has a good intro and good art, so I'm interested.
I actually think there's only one question we need to catch up with, so... and that is just thoughts on kill/death montages as opposed to full montages.
I love full montages, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too big a fan of death ones, especially the ones that literally just show the death and not even the fight. Like, how did you get there, kind of thing. Where the most interesting part of the season, I feel, is the stuff that isn't the deaths, kind of thing, where you're kind of missing the meat of what the round was, kind of thing. I don't know.
The story of a season is important to me because, like
Like
how that team got to where they did. Like, was it like a Paradox 3 situation where Diana and Rabid was the worst team in the game? They got enchanted a few minutes before meetup. That wouldn't have been clear in just a death montage where it's just like, oh, and then they killed them. Okay.
And like finding notable things, like if a team has like 40 gaps, to show them like crafting all 40, like, yo, we stacked, brother. Like stuff that influences the season.
You need to show the context of the clips for the clips to be interesting enough,
Also,
because
using
then it's just a
agency as,
PvP
like, an
montage.
example, imagine just showing the obby trap in that dojo. How did they get in a dojo? Why is there a dojo? You need context.
What is a melee dojo?
But yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I prefer I will watch a full montage, but I probably won't go out of my way to watch a death montage.
Like, it's kind of how I feel. It's just death montages just kind of they just kind of lack that additional information, and they just feel a bit. Feels you get a real weird version of the season.
It's just a PvP montage, and that's not incredibly interesting when watching the clips in the context of the season is a lot more interesting to watch with a full montage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe that's the last question.
I think we're all caught up on questions now, which means we can
just hit 3:30.
Yeah, it means we can probably actually end this thing now, which is kind of incredible. Longest podcast yet.
Wow. Last one was 3 hours on the dot. This one's 3.5. I checked. So there we
Dom,
go.
you made me stay in a channel with Ninjajaja for 3.5 hours. I'm reaching for the gun. I'm barely here.
Well, I just wanted to thank our guests, Kazmic, Jamie, and Joey, for joining us on the podcast.
No problem, dude.
damn it.
No problem.
It's my
Honestly,
production right now.
Absolutely an honor.
Jamie and Dom, if you'd like to join us next episode for the TDC/Phobia special, feel free.
I will use this. I will use time right now.
Okay.
I'll use this time right now just to clarify, because there's a question in the chat. RR awards. Yeah, it's very late. But I've said numerous times. Currently out of my control. I am thinking about.
Can I give them a teaser?
Can
I give a teaser for the RR Awards?
Sure.
I'll message it to you.
Okay.
So you can. Jeez, I haven't spoken to you in like a month.
It's been a while, actually. But it's just currently out of my control. However, I've realized it is getting quite long now. So I think what my plan is, I'm going to do one more push for the stuff that's out of my control. I'll see what I can get, and then I will just present the awards with what I have.
If you need help editing at all.
It will not be a complete package, but...
I assume what you're waiting on is production stuff, right? Because you say it's out of your control.
Yeah, it's not stuff I can do myself. So just waiting on that. If I could do one more push, I don't get anything from it, we'll just go with what we have currently. People will be able to piece together what's missing. But just know that Jamie will not be teasing that, because that will give away that will give away a lot more than I'm willing to give away currently. But yeah, it's being worked on. Will probably be coming sooner rather than later, because just get some stuff sorted. Yeah.
All right.
Also, because this is a stream and people because this is a stream, I'm just going to quickly just rattle off and just thank people who followed during the stream, because there was quite a lot actually, and I appreciate that. We actually
30.
we peaked at 33 viewers.
Right.
Which was quite amazing. And
I
even
think you started the stream with 28 followers and now you have 40.
Yeah, it's quite incredible, honestly. So I just want to give a thank you to Maxel. Oh wow, I fucked up. Maxa, Cyodal, Noah, Wacko, Blur, Drater, Firm, Harry, Higgy, Glarza, Rocky, Brink, Plushy, Summer, and Cyclone for all following during the stream. I don't fancy just following right now. Yeah, thankfully, we managed to survive the Bushy raid without talking about Gala, which I'm really happy about.
Trying to go as long as we could without talking about Gala. I did not want to bring it up.
We managed to
I think
survive
someone might
that.
have name dropped it because I think they freaked out a little bit over that.
They did, yeah. But we managed to survive it without actually talking about the round. They were really going hard. They really wanted to talk about that.
There were like 12 people screaming, please talk about Gala. And
I've been trying my best to ignore it.
Right, thanks to Bacon and Brody for the follows right now as well. I'd say thank you, Ninja. Personally, I think this stream was a success. I think this was quite fun. Managed to get a lot of good riffs going. This VOD will be going up on YouTube at some point. Don't know when, but it will be going up on YouTube.
Good luck timestamping 3.5 hours, by the way.
Tell you straight up, I'm not. Just tell you straight up, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna timestamp Roundup, Paradox, questions. Those are the we get. That's what you're getting. No, any more specific than that? No, you can fuck off. That's not happening. I'm not watching this again for 3.5 hours.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
yeah, thanks for having me as well.
Since I'm the host here, I will thank everyone who turned up. So thank you to Bacon, and thank you to Noah, and thank you to Ninja for all showing up. You did show up this time. Appreciated. Thanks for all showing. Thanks to Joey and also Jamie and Lego who weren't here for the whole thing but did show up. As is traditional with the podcast. So yeah, that's about all I gotta say. Ending the podcast here. Thanks everyone who watched. We'll be ending the stream now. So anyone who wants to say anything in chat, say it now. Otherwise you will be lost to time.
He has to wear his max, and I said hell.
Yeah. All right, Joe, you gotta calm down. Hey, other than that, ending the stream. Good night, gamers.